Thank you for pressing start on episode 89 of Underplayed, KZUM's indie video game podcast. Today, we have 2 secret games, a discussion with our guest Neha Patel, and a review of our featured game, Wanderstop. Here on Underplayed, we review indie games of all kinds, the games with small budgets but big hearts, the lesser-known experiences with imaginative ideas. I'm Bo Po, and I have a co-host. What's better than that? He's shaking his cake in Human Fall Flat, powering his radio with the turn of a crank, and playing through games till the backlog is blank. It's the 1,000 times resistin', Google form insistin', funky member of the Bomb Rush crew, DiscoCola. How do you do?
Oh, man. I'm feeling bold. I'm feeling confident. I think you could ask me any math problem, and I can instantly tell you the answer. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. My coffee-seeking man of business. Those are references to our featured game, Wanderstop. And it is a special episode for a couple reasons. One, it is a guest episode where we're going to have Neha Patel, a freelance audio designer and composer for indie games, joining us to talk about her work, her love of games, and she's going to help us review Wanderstop. She picked it from our lists, which is really cool. It's also the beginning of season 9 of Underplayed. And we can talk a little bit about games we've played the past few weeks and also just how Underplayed works for anyone jumping on at this moment.
Yeah.
Do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so first up, Underplayed, the indie video game podcast. Every episode, Bopo and I come to the episode, each of us prepared with an indie game review that the other doesn't know about. I've played a game Bopo doesn't know about. He's played a game I don't know about. And we're going to review those here and now, revealing them to each other. So those are our secret games. And then in a standard episode, we would move on to our featured game. And in this case, it's Wanderstop. You can check out posts on our social media to see all of the featured games for the season. And in this episode, we do have a guest. Occasionally we have guests, and so we'll talk with them before our review of the featured game.
Yes. And I guess I'm curious to hear from you on any games you've played recently that maybe won't get as much of a highlight on our show.
Yeah, so I did get to play some Digimon, even less than I was hoping for, unfortunately. I also have played a lot of Donut County and Untitled Goose Game again, and my kids are getting better at both. But what I decided to turn on recently for the family was Abzu, because my youngest in particular has been not only into bugs, but into sea creatures. They can name like all the sea creatures too. And so I turned that on, and I was just playing it with the kids one day, and then I picked it up for a second session when my wife was home, and it was just like a popcorn moment for the family. So I'm just sitting here playing Abzu. Of course, they're not playing it because it's hard to control even for us.
Yeah.
But
oh, that's such a pretty game.
Everybody was into it, and I was so happy until the next day when my youngest was like, Dad, play whole game. And by whole game, he meant play Abzu again. And I'm like, I don't want to play Abzu right now. You can play Donut County by yourself, but I can't play Abzu right now.
I gotcha.
So Abzu, that's the unexpected.
Abzu is a great game to show to someone who might be new to games, I think. Like whether it's a kid, whether it's an adult who hasn't really gotten into games before, I think you could just put a controller in someone's hands and just go like, hey, just play around with this. See what you think. Yeah. That's
at the very least, it's pretty.
It's very pretty. Yeah. You can meditate in those moments where you sit and you just watch the sea life go around you, and then you've got like a digital aquarium
screensaver
in your living room.
It's dope.
It's fun.
But yeah, other than that, I also have kept playing Bomb Rush Cyberfunk. I think that's going to be my mainstream game for a while.
Sick.
And
you're trying to get everything, right?
Trying to get everything on my main profile even. And it's just like it's going to be a fun game to stream, I think.
Yeah.
And Elsie. I keep playing Elsie.
Cool. I have a couple games I've played through. I'm trying to catch up on 2025 indie games. Some of these might end up being secret games if I decide to replay them, you know?
Okay.
But I put a lot of hours into Ball Pit, so this is a kind of like a survivor's like where you're shooting balls breakout style to kill enemies, waves of enemies that come down. And that game is insane when it comes to upgrades and synergizing powers and balls. It's kind of an assault on the senses at a certain point. I can't play it for like hours and hours on end, but I did kind of want to, and I was addicted to it for a couple weeks. I think I put in over 20 hours to get it done, and I like finally got credits.
Oh, you got credits on that?
I did,
okay.
yeah. So I put a lot of time into Ball Pit. Some other short games. I've played Slots and Daggers, which is a slot machine roguelite. I played through Constance, which I think you would really like.
I know that I will really like that.
Yeah. So I just wanted to highlight that because that's a very DiscoCola and Bopo game. And I think it lives up to my expectations. It doesn't exceed them. It doesn't come short of them. It's like right there at my level of expectations, which I'm very happy about.
Yeah.
A Metroidvania from late 2025.
Yeah, I played the demo and I was like, yeah, this is pretty good. And then I saw you stream some of it, and there were a couple other things that I saw when you were streaming. I'm like, oh, that looks even better than I remember.
It's a game they're also still finessing from the dev team. So they have a roadmap for updating the game, and their priority in early 2026 is going to be fine-tuning boss fights and some other things to just make the whole experience a little bit more fair. And the game also deals with topics of anxiety and depression I think in a very thoughtful, careful way, not in an overwhelming way. I think a very like just thoughtful way.
It can be easy to get like exploitative when you discuss those things in games.
In fact, if anything, I would have appreciated them maybe leaning into it a little bit more here and there, but I think the way they do it is great. So I have other things I could mention. I'll save it in case some of these become secret games.
Yeah, I've started some other stuff, but I already know that they're secret games, so I'm not going to tell you.
Sweet. Rude. No, but I just wanted to say like, hey, welcome to season 9 too. Like, congratulations on making it here.
Yeah, we're getting close to the big number.
The big number, yes.
We're going to have pierogies.
Yeah.
It's going to be something.
That's literally all we will do.
Yeah, it's just 3 hours of pierogies.
For episode 100.
In a public radio station recording studio.
While we eat pierogies, should we play some of the soundtrack from Night in the Woods in the background?
Yeah, we should
cool.
do the like sing along to the karaoke like rock bands.
Sing along to Pumpkinhead Guy.
Yeah, and like the Anywhere Else, whatever. That one's actually really good. Yeah. I sang along to that when I was playing it.
Gosh, that was our featured game on episode 2.
Was that right?
Yes.
That was episode. Gosh,
that was episode 2.
I thought that was like season 2.
No, it was episode 2.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I guess since we have a guest this episode, we do need to move on. But before we do, there are a few very easy ways to support Underplayed. They cost nothing. They take almost no time at all. So we'd really appreciate you doing these things for us if you haven't already. You can give us a follow and a 5-star rating on podcast platforms that you're listening to our show on. That would make us appear more consistently for you and everyone else. 2, you can follow us across social media. We've got links in our show notes for that. And 3, you could share our podcast by reposting our stuff on social media and telling your indie game loving friends about us. That would mean a whole lot. And as always, we love you. Thank you for listening. It's time for our secret games.
Secret games. Secret games. I know you're playing without me. Secret games. Well, I'm here to tell you, baby. Secret games. I've been playing too. Secret games. Ooh.
In Secret Games, we're each going to reveal a game we have been playing recently. I don't know what DiscoCola's been playing in preparation for this episode. He doesn't know what I've been playing. We're going to reveal these games, talk about what we liked, what we didn't, give a score to the games, and ask each other questions about them. It'll be a good time. So let's start with you, DiscoCola. Let the mystery be no more. Reveal your secret game for episode 89 of Underplayed.
My secret game is a narrative adventure from Scavenger Studios, and it is called Season, A Letter to the Future.
I know about this game.
I could see that you at least own it on PlayStation.
Yeah.
We had a discussion about what that means when it says so-and-so plays this game.
Right. And also, we talked one time about this possibly being a featured game. It's one of those games that was on the fence.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad that you have taken an opportunity to play this. I've been eyeing this for a few years. And also, we have talked about Season A Letter to the Future in the past because of some controversy we heard about the development. I think a studio co-founder was accused of some hostile workplace behavior during the development of this game, which did delay things when it came to the release of Season. But ultimately, the game was released, and a lot of people still worked hard on the game and put their hearts into it. So I'm glad you're able to talk about it today.
Right on. So yeah, in Season A Letter to the Future, which I'm just going to call Season from now on.
Sure.
We play as a young woman who has planned to set off on an adventure to chronicle the end of the season. And in this game, you can kind of think of the season as an era of sorts. It's not really like a season as it relates to Earth's position relative to the sun.
Okay. An era.
It's like an era. And at the beginning of the game, someone in our village has had a prophetic dream that indicates the change of a season is fast approaching. So our first task in Season is to perform a protection ritual with our mother that will ultimately result in her losing 5 specific memories, one based on all of the different senses. And that's how we create this protective pendant. Now, normally this would be like a point that I totally gloss over, but it is the first example of a recurring theme throughout the game regarding memories, the past, the future, and what we carry with us. So equipped with our protective pendant, our Polaroid-style camera, and our audio recorder, and our journal, we set out to explore our village and the various locations and peoples within the valley below, all in an effort to record as much or as little as we can for the future before this season changes forever. And that's the gist of the story. As far as like things I enjoyed about the game, generally I like the gameplay loop. You reach a new location, a new page gets added to your journal, you explore and discover all of the interactable items in each location, and then you can take photos or recordings of whatever you like, and from there you get to fill in the pages of your journal with whatever you find to be the most meaningful.
Tell me more about this journal in a second.
I'm going to tell you a lot about this journal.
Okay.
Normally, when it comes to something like this, I'm someone who likes a one true or most true choice to like place in the journal. But we learned super early on that's not how this game works. There is no like one true choice for basically anything. Speaking of, normally I also don't like choices matter games, but this one's a bit different. Somehow, like in most cases, the choices are arbitrary for the ultimate outcome. So there are rarely significant consequences to your choices, but I do still like the way it does make me ponder my decisions before I make them. In this game, we meet way fewer characters than I expected on our journey, but I do like all of them. And each of the stories I encountered were touching in their own way, and the voice acting for each character goes a long way in landing that connection for me. Everyone here feels significant. They all have their own story. They all have their own weight.
That feels very synergistic with Wanderstop.
This is a mad synergistic episode here.
Okay. Before you know what my secret game is, I'll just say there's another synergy coming, baby.
Oh, good. Okay.
That you don't see coming.
Okay. I'm ready.
So,
except I'm not. I still have to tell you about Season to the Future.
Right. But it's coming.
It's coming. Like the end of a season. I do like the landscape and appearance of Chang Valley in the game. It takes me a while to get over the scale of the map, which for me is quite overwhelming at first. But I do eventually get used to it, and generally I know where to look for things that are somewhat significant. Up next, I do have mixed feelings about the final moments leading up to the ending, but the ending itself is mostly satisfying to me. It is also kind of a bit sinister as well, but I also like that it's kind of grounded in how much would ultimately be in our control. We're not Blue and taking down the entire system. We just simply do not have that much agency over what's going to change the season. It does show a philosophy, this ending, on memory and the weight of the past that I don't necessarily agree with, but there is still some beauty in this conclusion that I found. And then, lastly, in this section, there's a reference to our most recently played featured game, Bomb Rush Cyberfunk, and I was so stoked to hear that in this philosophical, cozier adventure.
That would never be on my bingo card. That would never be an imagination or a thought I would have between these two games.
This old woman's going to tell us to go all city. You'll never see it coming, except that I just told you. But
is that really what the reference is?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And is any context given to what that means if you haven't played Bomb Rush Cyberfunk?
I'm trying to remember, because when she says it, there is graffiti in the game.
Is she tagging?
There is graffiti
actively?
in the game, yeah.
Really? Okay.
And she is an artist, and there is graffiti in the game. And she does comment on graffiti at one point, but I don't remember the two being connected.
Oh my God. It's incredible. It's got to be one of the most jaw-dropping examples of cross-game references that we've seen.
Yeah, you wouldn't have expected it from Season.
Wow.
Stuff I don't jive with as much. I did kind of mention this in the section, but especially at the beginning, the map and how many different locations get a journal page is super overwhelming. But at the same time, there are long paths between locations sometimes that don't have any pages in the journal. And so sometimes I'm worried that I'm moving too quickly when I'm on those pathways and I'm skipping something that's off to the right or off to the left. I did ultimately decide to trust my intuition and try and put myself in that Outer Wilds mindset in terms of looking for detail. And for the most part that worked, but I had a hard time putting myself in that headspace.
Yeah.
Next, there are some character designs in this game that I didn't really love. And in most cases, it's because their heads are way too large. And
I see that in some of the screenshots.
Yeah.
I'm seeing, yeah.
I'm okay with getting wild in character designs in a world that is similar to ours but different. And I think there's whimsy in that. But to call the head sizes on these characters disproportionate doesn't do it justice. It's a few stages beyond disproportionate. And it reminds me of this work by Junji Ito called The Hanging Balloons.
Okay.
So if you know some of the screenshots from that, you understand why this is very unsettling to me.
Yeah. And I'll say I know that to some people this might sound like a little bit of a reach for criticism, but I can relate to this with a less sophisticated example where I remember back in the day playing the Jack games, the Jack and Daxter games. You could find precursor orbs in Jack 2 and 3 that were more precious, rarer, because they became rarer as the series went on. And they were used to buy cosmetics and fun unlocks.
Mm-hmm.
You could unlock big head mode. This is something that's not just exclusive to this series. This is just one game where it does it. But I remember thinking oh, big head mode, that's cool. I might want to do a whole playthrough where I do big head mode, right? I turn on big head mode and it was so off-putting that I turned it off right away. There's just something so distractingly weird and horrible about it.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
You can get to chibi, big head, disproportionate, but then you start pushing that boundary a little bit and it makes my skin crawl kind of.
Yeah.
Up next, I could do with a few fewer pages in the journal. While almost everything in the game is kind of optional, I sort of felt that I was stopping far too frequently to keep my momentum moving. That's part of what, ran my engine out on this sometimes. It's just I'm stopping too often because there's too many locations to explore. And granted, they're all optional, but optional is a meaningless word to me, apparently. But that does lead me to my last but maybe biggest sticking point is just I only have so much in me before I have to turn it off and play something more stimulating. This won't be the last time you actually hear this in this episode. I have a great love for preserving the past for the future. especially if no one else is doing it. But it's something I need to do over a much longer period of time. If I tried to like play this in just a few sittings, that would be a super duper slog for someone with my sensibilities. So yeah, for a long time, I wanted to play this because it kind of seemed like an Annapurna-ass game. Having completed it now, it is kind of strange to me that it's not an Annapurna game.
Huh.
Season takes a small cast of characters experiencing the same moment, all with different attitude, mindset, and history. And that creates a compelling narrative and drives the questions regarding the past, the future, and what we carry with us and whether or not we should. Like, I found so many profound expressions throughout the game. My only complaints are really grounded in the fact that I just prefer faster paced action games. So there's not really much wrong with it subjectively speaking, as far as I found. I just prefer something else most of the time. So as such, I give this an 8.0 out of 10.
Nice. So this has always caught my eye. I think it's gorgeous. I love a slower meditative game. Do you think this is a game for me?
I do think you would prefer
Okay.
this over me, especially with the journal and what you get to do with the journal.
Yes.
And you get to take photos and
Oh.
you get to experience
Keep going.
composition of photos.
Amazing.
There's like focus and depth of field. You get to do a lot.
Another thing you do a lot is riding the bicycle, right?
Yes.
And how would you rate the bicycle gameplay? By itself.
Impossible in real life is how I would rate it. This is the best bike rider I've ever seen.
Oh, they're just really good
Just
at the bicycle.
Super good at the bike.
Does
They
it
can.
does it feel nice?
It feels fine.
Yeah. Cool.
There's you don't get to control your speed.
Okay.
So it's just like forward and trying to stop.
Okay.
So you don't get to like mash a button while you're riding a bike to try and go faster for a little bit.
I don't think this game needs to have.
No, it
that.
doesn't.
Yeah.
It would be more stimulating in those longer stretches.
Right.
But yeah, she can like ride uphill at the same speed she rides downhill. She can ride in grass. She can ride on sand, which is impossible, but she did it. She's the best bike rider I've ever seen.
In your non-scientific assessments, was it a good call to de-emphasize this as a featured game candidate and like make it more eligible as a secret game? I know it's not an exact science, but like usually featured games are noteworthy in some way and they're widely recognized in the indie space.
Yeah. I mean, to me, like this has all the elements of all of our like Annapurna game, most of our Annapurna games.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's weird to me that it just has that DNA and does it just as well as most Annapurna games.
Like
there might
this-
be some like, it's not quite there on the graphical level as some of the other
Okay.
Annapurna games, but otherwise I felt like I was playing one of those better, higher tier indies.
It's like someone could tell you this is in the next Annapurna collection and they could trick you. You wouldn't like,
I wouldn't
you
question
wouldn't
it.
question it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear that. Yep.
So yeah, I think it was, as far as like taking it off of contention for featured game, I think it was the only argument for it in my mind is just the numbers behind it. Just
Okay.
like how many people have played it.
Yeah. It just
I
seemed
think
like
that's
there
the
were less
only
people. Yeah.
valid argument for it, in my opinion.
It felt like one of those on the fence games, but I'm glad again that one of us got to play it, and I think this is going to be in an early contender for Jealous Game.
I'm going to tell you, there's going to be, let me pull up. I already have all my secret games planned.
Wow.
Let me look.
What are they?
Wadham 3 to a T.
3.
Yeah. No, it's going to be another season. You're going to have maybe 2 or 3 on here.
Okay. Cool.
So.
Well, I look forward to it. And where can you play Season: A Letter to the Future?
Looks like you can play it on PC, PS4, which is the copy that I played, and PS5.
Amazing. It is time for My Secret Game. My Secret Game, DiscoCola, has synergy less with Wanderstop
Oh,
and
okay.
more so synergy with your secret game.
Interesting.
But not like in a huge way,
It's
but like
bikes.
My Secret Game is Wheel World.
Oh,
Though it's not easy, I can feel so crazy and a little shaky. Oh no, it's not easy, I can feel so crazy, but I want the amazing.
I was trying to conjure the name as soon as I said it's bikes. I was like, wait, what's the game? So I have heard of Wheel World. I don't really know anything about it except bikes, and the music is awesome.
That's correct. Yes, that is really all I would expect you to know at this stage of the game. So Wheel World is a 2025 open world racing game. It was developed by Messhoff Games and published by Annapurna Interactive.
Look at that.
Look at that. So, gosh, it was so hard keeping my my lips zipped the past few minutes.
Your like brain was vibrating, just like, I want to say it. I'm going to say it.
The game synopsis from the Steam storefront for Wheel World says, quote, dive into Wheel World as Cat, a rider chosen by ancient cycling spirits, race elite teams, trick out your bike, and perform the long overdue Great Shift ritual to save a universe on the brink. Your bike is your destiny, end quote. So Wheel World, if you know the history of this game, you'll know that Wheel World used to be called Ghost Bike, and they changed the name quite a while back before the game was released.
Okay.
I think to highlight the lightness of the game, the fun of the game, I think Ghost Bike evoked something darker, and so they chose Wheel World instead.
Because like if you showed me this trailer and said Ghost Bike, I would be thinking of something like the upcoming, or no, it's released now, Skate Story.
Oh, right.
Which is a little bit more sinister than
it is a little bit darker. Exactly. So this is where you play as a cyclist named Kat, who discovers her bike is a magical artifact and that the world she's in is suffering from this great cosmic imbalance. And she discovers this skeleton spirit named Skelly. So that's where like Ghost Bike comes from, is you're accompanied by this spirit the whole game. And Kat must gather legendary bike parts that have been stolen to augment her ride in order to perform the Great Shift, which will save the world. The legendary bike parts are spread throughout the land. They're obtained by challenging bike gangs to these big races and defeating them on their turf. And as you win races, you unlock bike parts, which you can swap in and out at any time. They affect your power, aerodynamics, handling, and grip stats. You can choose to outfit your ride with different frames, wheels, saddles, forks, bars, and drivetrains. And even with wheels, you can equip a different front wheel from your back wheel.
Yeah,
so you can like highly customize things. And bike parts can have perks that augment your playstyle too. Like there's one that makes you more agile while navigating foliage and debris, for instance.
Nice.
So you can really customize how you play this game, or at least what kind of bike you're riding. And races also have the letters KAT for cat for you to find, which if you find all those during a race, that boosts your reputation, which is a stat that's maintained, throughout the world. You can find ramps you can jump off of that are tracked. You can check off tons of miscellaneous tasks to earn currency to buy new parts too. So there's this tracking system for all kinds of activities in this world. And your goal is to win races, go to the various sections of Tremonto to increase your reputation and become a better racer overall and save the world.
Don't forget that part.
Yeah, don't forget that while you're doing all this. So here's what I liked about Wheel World. I really love the synth score. I want to shout out the various artists that contribute here. So we have Johnny Jewel, Orion, and June, all collaborating on this album. It's just this chill, like synthy music that is playing as you're doing these races, often with really fun lyrics. I love the look and feel of this world. It's inspired by real world landscapes, like you'll race through vineyards and countrysides, but then also there are lots of cityscape areas too. But things just have like a little bit of a twist that make them feel just a little unnatural. I love the use of pastel color here, the variety of locales, the bike gangs that take control of each place. They all have their own flavor of personality too. I think the racing feels great in Wheel World. There's this snappiness to the movement. It feels like an arcade racer. There's momentum that you build. The reactiveness of your character versus like the inputs you're making just feels just right. Even though your stats can change over time, it always feels like your character's doing exactly what you want them to do. There are plenty of moments where you get airtime. You might jump off of ramps. That adds a thrilling element to the races too. There are also online features that I liked. So there are race times that the game keeps track of, and it also will track your race times against your friends who play. So as I was playing this game, I was seeing race times from former guests of our show, like the ladies from No Small Games, and Matt Stormageddon was showing up in my leaderboards. And so they had played the game months ago. I'd see their names pop up at the end of the race, and I might have gotten first place and all the reputation points I could get out of the race. But there was this extra incentive I felt to beat my friends' scores.
Cream all of our buddies.
Yes. And like sometimes I'd be just a tenth of a second away from Matt's high score. And I was like, you know what? Let me get back in there. Let me do another race. And the races are only a couple minutes long. They're very digestible, sometimes barely over a minute long. Like these are really nice, digestible races. It never feels like, do I want to do another race? It's going to be like such a time sink. It never once felt like that to me. The races at the end, so you'll do like kind of an ultimate race at the end of a region. After you've knocked out a bunch of reputation points, it unlocks the big race that gives you your legendary bike part. That race is longer often, but still never something that I didn't have the energy for. I do have some things I didn't like as much. The final ending is a little anticlimactic, but I loved the build up to it. This is like the inverse of what you said about Season, where there's like a build up to the finale in Wheel World that's like really awesome. And then there's like a section of the game that actually takes you to the credits. And I thought that was just kind of I don't know, it was a little unnecessary. And then the story overall is sort of a nothing burger for me. It's just the world's in danger. You have to collect these bike parts to perform a ritual to save it. You don't really need to understand more beyond that. There was an opportunity there, I guess, to make it a little bit more memorable or impactful. But the game really just starts like you are playing as Cat and you have a bike and you're meeting Skelly in the first 3 minutes of this game and you're being explained the stakes. And it's kind of going over my head. I don't really care about it a ton. So it's not going to be like my favorite narrative of the season. But, you know, it's not a huge deal breaker for me.
That's usually like, I'm fine with that most of the time.
For a game like this, like an open world racing game, I'm fine with that. There are times where the bike can get caught on certain kinds of terrain in a messy way. Some races have chain link fences, and I remember my wheels getting like stuck in them, and I'd have to restart the race. This doesn't happen every race, but there are just some races you have to be really careful in because the bike won't behave in a way that you expect. And then I, at a certain point, felt inundated with how many bike parts I had found. You can find bike parts just by doing races. You can also find them in boxes that are just out in the open world. You'll open up a box and find new handlebars, right? And you end up collecting many dozens of bike parts and cycling through them is kind of a chore. And a lot of them just marginally change your stats.
Okay.
Rarely did I have a bike part where I equipped it and I was like, oh yeah, now I'm really going to rock, baby. Like this will like drastically change things for me. It was just incremental, marginal changes to my stats slowly over time. So there was never that satisfying find of a bike part where I went, that's what I've been looking for this whole game. So I wish
it's not like Sable where you're like you find one of the bike sets at the end of the game. It's just like, why would I ever go back?
Exactly.
Got it.
This game does have parts that belong to sets, but it's not like you find them all at once, you equip them, and you're drastically better in my experience. So I kind of wish that maybe there were less bike parts total and they just on average made a bigger difference. But there are really fun bike parts. Like they're fun to mix and match. You can have a hot dog bicycle, you know, you can do all kinds of fun stuff. So overall, Wheel World is a pure joy to ride around in. It feels amazing. I love how this game feels. The story doesn't entirely hit for me, but this world creates a great excuse to experience some exhilarating racing action that feels wonderful to control. For me, this is a 9 out of 10.
Rock
I had
on,
a great
dude.
time. It's playable on PC, Linux, PS5, and Xbox Series.
Heckers. I did have one question, and you kind of answered it there at the end, but like, you said that there are sets for the bike parts, and I'm wondering if like stats stack in a sense. So like if you equip 2 matching wheels, is that like 2 buffs to what that wheel does? Or is it like it only makes sense to equip 1 wheel from that set and then you should focus on another wheel from another set to get another slight
Yeah,
advantage?
All bike parts are going to affect your power, aerodynamics, handling, and grip. Those are the 4 main stats that you encounter the most. And so there are times where maybe a wheel gives me I'm not going to remember like, an exact example, but maybe a wheel gives me a lot of handling and it decreases my grip a little. And I might counterbalance that by finding another wheel that increases my grip a lot, but decreases my handling a bit. But that's not always necessary. And I didn't find a lot of situations where, equipping different wheels or the same wheels was like necessary or like what I could tell was the intended choice that the developers want you to make. They really just want you to, I think, mostly make a cosmetic choice. And then some parts have the bonus effects, like this makes you better at this kind of terrain. I was swapping to some of those for certain races, but I wasn't doing that a ton between many of the races in the game. It was just like I'd find the best parts I could that increased my stats the most on average. And then anytime I got a new part, I evaluated it. I'd swap it in if it seemed like a just across the board improvement. Does that answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
The only other thing I'd be curious about is if you equipped every piece of the same set, is there like an extra bonus effect? Some games do that.
Yeah, some games do that. I had a feeling you'd ask about this, and I couldn't tell that was a thing.
Okay.
And they actually make it kind of hard sometimes to find all the pieces in a set because you might get one piece from like a box sitting out in the world. You might get another from doing a race. You don't always find them all in the same spot. So I had a ton of like sets where I had partial sets, but I don't think that's going on. I could be mistaken though.
Okay. And then the only other thing I'm curious about is like, what's the scale of the world here? Because like I'm looking at the trailer and I'm seeing a lot of stuff happen in the city, but I'm also seeing these like varied environments that you're running through. So like,
I kind of wish the trailer didn't show this. I disagree with them making the choice to show this. There's a city you start out in with different regions. You start off in like kind of more of a tutorial area, then you cross a bridge that leads you to the main city. And that place has like 4 or 5 regions. About halfway through the game, you go to a different place.
Okay.
I'm not going to explain more about that place, but the world size kind of doubles at a certain checkpoint in the game.
Okay. So that's like Vice City rules from back in the day. Is it like truly open world? Can you like explore once you get to this other zone? Can you go back?
Once you get to, you can go back. And once you get to the big city after the short tutorial section, I think you can just kind of ride around to whatever districts you want to.
Okay.
You might not have access to all the races because your reputation isn't high though.
Got it.
Yeah.
You
so you
haven't
can
done enough graffiti yet.
right.
Got it.
You haven't won enough races yet. And it's really easy to tell how many reputation points you need for different activities too. I appreciated that.
Well, that's all I had.
I think you would really like it if you, I don't know. I don't know if I have a gauge on your love for racing games.
I don't have like a passion for that at all. I've got one friend that loves racing games and he's trying to get me to play racing games for this podcast. And I've also got another friend that like loves this music and likes the game. And so like
they're both me. No.
I think if I jump into the pool, it's going to be like through the music aspect of it because I have already played some of this on demo mode and it was really good.
It's really good music.
So
I think you would have a great time vibing to the music as you're attempting these races. I also don't think this is anywhere close to the hardest racing game I've ever played.
right.
But that's coming from someone who's played a decent amount of them.
Okay.
But I think it's a pretty approachable one. One I would introduce to someone who wants to get into racing games
Right.
a little bit.
Yeah, it doesn't look like scary. I'm not scared of it.
Yeah.
Just looking at it. I'm more scared of the like open world part.
It's a lighter game. It's a humorous game. And along with that, I think the gameplay is not the most challenging. And I think that's the perfect match
Yeah.
for Wheel World.
Cool.
So those are our secret games, Season, A Letter to the Future, and Wheel World. Let's move on to our discussion with Neha Patel, this episode's special guest. Our guest makes sounds that are so crisp and clean, evoking the details of Indian cuisine. You might hear her work as you learn the world's fate. You can even hear her on the play date. So let's give a toastin' to the masterfully composing guest we have chosen, Neha Patel. How's it going?
Hi, thanks for having me. Wow, you're a rhyming game. I did not expect that. That was hilariously good. Thank you. Wow. Like,
We wanted-
that is the best intro I've ever had.
We want to give a little something special to our guest today. So thank you so much for agreeing to be on an episode of Underplayed. Welcome. You are actually helping to kick off our 9th season. This is the first episode of our 9th season, premiering in early 2026. So thank you so much.
Oh, yay. What an honor. Yay.
Yeah.
Everyone listen to Underplayed podcast, season 9. Yay.
Yes, thank you. Wow. You did a really good
Best
job
intro
promoting.
for us too.
Wow, yeah.
I cheer my friends very hard.
It's a mutually beneficial thing we have going on. Okay, cool.
I think you're actually our first sound designer too, if I'm not
Oh,
mistaken.
really?
Yeah. So that's gonna
That's
be exciting
surprising.
too.
We're everywhere.
Yes, there are dozens of you. No.
Not for lack of trying. There's been a couple of efforts,
right.
but
Yeah. We've talked a lot about composing and sound design in our discussions. We've talked to other game developers who share a little bit on this, but none who truly specialize, right? A lot of them who work with people like you. So it'll be really interesting to get your perspective. And I think we'll come away learning a thing or two about your world.
What an honor.
Yeah. So, and then our listeners will also get something out of it too, I think. So, Neha, can you start by just talking about what you do and what games you've worked on?
Yeah, so I am a composer, sound designer, also classical pianist. I basically do everything related to audio in games, other than scripting. So I'll record sounds, I make sounds, I write music, I orchestrate, I mix. Not a really good mixer, but I do with what I have. I record, I do all of that. I also do a lot of implementation. So for any sound people out there, we know about Wise, Fmod. So basically integrating the sounds into a middleware software that then gets into the game. And I do audio direction, Excel sheets, all of it. And currently I'm working on, I've worked on the game Venba. I've also where I did all the sound effects. I recorded a lot of sounds for that. I worked on a game with Sweet Baby called Lost Your Marbles. It's a little game for the Playdate. And I think it's one of the most fun, upbeat soundtracks I've ever worked on, which was really cool. I've done the music for Six Ages 2, Lights Going Out. I worked on Eternights. And currently I am working on All Will Rise, which is a game about bringing billionaires to court on eco-terrorism. You're basically playing a lawyer and you are in a court building narrative deck builder game. It's really cool.
hell
And
yeah.
then lots of NDAs.
Yes. Yeah, I'm sure you've always got something working on that you can't quite talk about.
Wow, so that's a lot of skills. Tell us how you got started with music and sound, and like how you came to work on video games of all things.
I was 8 years old, and my brother's friend lent us Final Fantasy VII, and I played the game, and I was like, "Whoa!" I didn't finish the game because English, I don't think I was good enough at English or at video games to fully understand that at age 8 because, well, I went to French school, Quebec. So I'm realizing now that I probably did not understand half of what I was reading. And I had also heard the piano collections that had recently come out. And I was absolutely obsessed. Like, that's the only thing I was listening to. And this was before like YouTube and stuff. So I didn't really have access to music. So I was incredibly obsessed with this soundtrack. And I begged my parents for piano lessons. I was like, because my goal in life at that point at 8 years old was to play Those Who Fight and One Winged Angel on the piano, like
Nice.
the original piano collection arrangement. And obviously they said no, partly because we were really poor, but also because they had no idea that music is good for a child. I mean, it sounds very obvious now, but we're talking about early 2000s and them not having access, like they don't know how to use internet or research or, things that we take for granted. So they knew sports was good, but they didn't know that music is very, very good for a child's development of brain. There's so much research on that, right? So they said, hell no. You're not doing that. And it took 2 years of me nagging them. And then one day I was on my bike and I got hit by a car, but like, it was really my fault. Like I did not look both sides before crossing, but it's okay. Cause I got hurt enough, right? Like I messed up my foot and I fractured my wrist. And the day they were cutting the cast open, the doctor saw my hands and he was making small talk. And he was like, wow, you have such long fingers. Do you play piano? And like my parents just looked at each other and they were like, oh, okay, that's it. This is a sign. The girl needs her lessons now. So I immediately got my lessons right after that. So I started piano at 10 with the goal of playing video game music. I fell in love with classical music at the same time. So I was secretly learning video game music because it was really frowned upon, right? And so I did my bachelor's in piano, and I was writing a lot of arrangements. I didn't think that like a career in game audio, or I don't think I even realized the concept of game audio, if that makes sense. Like that wasn't a field. But when I did realize that, I realized that there was no university programs that offer a bachelor's in game audio, at least not back in, I don't know, 2015 in Canada, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So I ended up studying classical piano, and then on the side, I would research game audio. I would be up at 2 a.m. Googling how to be video game composer. And I just found random stuff. Like I found a opportunity to apply for a scholarship to go to GDC. So I did that, and that kind of changed my world. And I realized like, okay, I can really do this. Like there is a field out there. So I started getting involved in the games community in Montreal. I was very lucky to be, living in a game hub city. Got involved with the game audio community, and that's kind of how it started.
That's awesome. It's really cool how in a world where there isn't that degree for the exact thing that you want to do, you can kind of chart your own path. And so your determination is really what got you there. That's awesome.
And I think it's cool that you started out with that love of video games and ended up in video games. Like we had a guest on that was a game dev, but he was a musician first, and he just happened to be it was my impression that he was a musician that wanted to make a game. And so like the music was really his strong suit, but I haven't had it the other way around where it's like video games are why I fell in love with music.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that was my thing. That was it. I was like, wow.
I love that. Also, thank goodness for that doctor just making that comment.
Yo, like bless that doctor. Oh my God, right? He changed my life.
Right.
Like,
If he
and
had
the old
not
lady
said
who
that.
hit me, I'm really sorry to her. Like it was so my fault. Like I feel so bad. Because I drive now and I realize how stupid I was. And there was just this old lady behind her wheel who was doing the correct thing. And I just crossed the street without looking because you're 10 and you're stupid. Also, wear your helmet. Like, seriously, that saved my life.
No matter
wear
what
your damn
age you are,
helmet.
no matter how capable you are with riding a bike, always be safe. I
wear a
saw
helmet.
a cyclist get hit a couple years ago, and it was horrifying. They were okay; they didn't die or anything, but it was scary while it happened. So yeah, people be careful, please. But I think that's also like in a roundabout way a healthy way to look at it too. That all these things led to now. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
So speaking of playing Final Fantasy at a young age, it makes us start thinking like what other games have helped shape you. So do games made by other teams ever expand your appreciation for composition and sound design. What games have inspired you, if that's the case?
Oh man, every day, all the time. And I don't play enough games. Like it's constant. I'm always like, how are people so talented? And the imposter syndrome is like, what am I doing here? Like I cannot be here. Like there's so much talent out there. From indie to triple A, but especially the indie field, like there's this it's a similar name, but it's called Wandersong. And
Yes.
I was just shocked with how well everything came together for that game. Like the voices, the writing, the sound design, everything just felt so in line. I think about Thank Goodness You're Here. That was I believe released last year. And
Yeah, last year. Yeah.
the hilariousness of that game, like how funny, and to provoke that with sounds at this whole other level. And I'm like, it's so inspiring. And I'm lucky enough that the game audio community is quite small, so everyone kind of knows each other. So people that I look up to sometimes they become my friends, and I'm like,
Hmm.
wow, you're so cool. The composer for Gnog and Thirsty Suitors and Boyfriend Dungeon, his name is Ramsey Korabe. And I remember I was like just too scared to ever approach him on Twitter or anything, because I thought he was like the coolest guy ever. And then one day we had like a panel together, and that's kind of how I met him. And I'm like, hello, you're so cool, by the way. Like, I don't know what to tell you, but you're so. And now we're working together on All Will Rise, which is
incredible.
like a crazy. And like he's my cat's uncle, and like it's just you realize that these people are very approachable. Actually, a lot of them, at least, and they're all like willing to help. A good friend, mentor, Josie Breckner, her work is just absolutely phenomenal, and I'm always in awe. Priscilla Snow, she did Skin Deep,
Mm.
Spooky Express. Again, I'm so grateful that these people are now friends, and it's very inspiring, and it's made me feel like I can try to just reach out to these people, right? The game audio community, it's very special in the game dev world, where it's quite tight knit.
Mm.
And there's like this, and this is something I never experienced growing up, whether culturally or in classical music, where people are just so willing to help for no reason. Like it's just this openness. There's this lack of, it's not even the helping, it's like this inclusion.
Yeah.
Like I never felt so respected.
That can happen when you're in a community that's like, the more niche it is, the more willing people are to help someone out because they kind of see themselves in that person, maybe. And I've seen this in some of my hobbies and areas of interest.
For sure. Just talking about indie games, being indie game fans, being in public radio, like
Mhm.
all of it.
Yeah. I'm a juggler. I've been juggling for about 20 years. And I started attending juggling festivals like 15 years ago. And at juggling festivals, which are these big events where you can like meet famous jugglers, you can meet your heroes, right? You can approach them and they can teach you things. It's a very accessible, safe place to introduce yourself, to learn, to help other people. And so I love stories like that where you can just approach people that you look up to and then all of a sudden you're collaborating, right? That's a dream come true.
Okay, that is so cool about the juggle festivals and conferences. And wow, I did not know. Wow, that's so cool.
Well,
it's so niche.
Yeah, and like I think all these communities, they have their special events. They have the things that the layperson might not expect. Like you talked about being on panels. You know, some people might not expect that there are audio production panels, you know, when it comes to the games industry. And so I guess just to throw another question in, can you talk a little bit about some of the work you've done at events and speaking?
Yeah, so I talk a lot about game audio sustainability on like the money side. So how much to charge, OST rights, keeping your money, rev share, royalty money, just stuff that's in relation to money. And I think that's very, very important to me because so quick story, I finished my bachelor's in piano and then I did a 2-year program of composition for screen, like a master's. And I quit after a year. But basically, this was like, I thought it was my dream program. Like, holy crap, they're going to teach us how to write music for movies and games and all of it. And it seemed amazing. Like, this is, you get a master's in that, right? But I quit for various good reasons. But a whole year into that program, and not once did we learn about contracts, about money, about how much to charge. We are all capable composers at this point. Like, of course, there's always room to learn, but we can score, right? And not once did we learn how to charge or anything like that. And I think I lucked out because, I guess for context, a lot of my friends from that program got abused by the system, by other actually indie game composers and other production companies in indie games. And I'm a very empathetic person. If you screw me over, I'm a little mad, but it's okay. But if it's my friend, we're gonna have problems. And what happened was that the year before I started that master's program, I went to GDC. And that's when I met like the global game audio community. And that's where I learned so much on this international level, right? So when I got back home, it's like I already kind of had a base of like unpaid internships are not okay. I would use certain very stronger words right now, but I am not. But they are those words you are thinking about. They are terrible, terrible, and it is applied on the industry, and I will not support that. But when I started my master's, it was okay. It was actually we had a requirement to do an unpaid internship. It was like in the words, like you must do an unpaid internship. So all of that to say that I saw a lot of my friends get abused, and it broke my heart, and it felt unfair, and I wanted to do something about it because I start messaging them this info. Usually it's too late. Like there's nothing I could do about it. But then I realized, and then I started tweeting about it, right? And I'm like, okay, well, if I'm gonna like message people, write documents, and then tweet about it, might as well make it into a talk, right? So that's kind of how it started. And there's this gratefulness in me of like, my parents are immigrants from India, from a village with very little education. And, we're not the rich Indian doctor engineers immigrants. We're the labor factory worker immigrants, just to differentiate. And I wasn't supposed to go into music, right? Like I felt such guilt. I was supposed to be a doctor, worst case, a pharmacist. And I was none of those things. And I definitely overworked myself because I felt like I have to pay back the mistakes I've done, right? And for someone like me to have to be alive in game audio, it's because of the game audio community, where I learned how to financially survive. I was given this cushion, almost like this help. And like the social norms in Quebec, where education is very inexpensive, it's affordable. Rent back in the day, it was affordable, right? And so diversity and stuff like that, it's very important to me. But for me, that starts kind of at a financial level. To survive in indie games and especially game audio, it's like we need to talk about money. Because it's cool to talk about tech.
It needs to be sustainable.
It has to be sustainable. And I'm like, why is it such a hush-hush thing? And why do I need to be already in a circle to learn about it? Like, why not just give public talks? Yeah. So like that's my thing now, where it's like let's talk about money, right?
Yeah, I think people put up walls, they put up the barriers because it can be awkward and uncomfortable and hard to talk about, but you're breaking that down with what you do.
Yeah, I feel like it shouldn't be awkward and hard. It's like, hey, maybe my path would have been easier if I could have showed my parents, hey, here's like job stuff and money and stuff. Like, I know how close I was to not having this life, right? And I'm very grateful to have this life. And therefore, I think it's like almost like I owe the world to like teach and like share the knowledge.
I want to move back to maybe just like sound effects specifically. How does your process for designing sound effects for games like Venba or Turn Knights compare to your process of composing for games like Lost Your Marbles or Thousand Hells?
Ooh, so Venba and Eternights were very different. With Eternights, I was working with Serial Lab Sound. It's a game audio company led by Gina and Spencer, based in Boston. And they're veterans of the industry. They're absolutely amazing. And I was under their wings and I had a blast. Basically, I was given an Excel sheet with video captures already done, a description. Usually, I think the dev would write it, and then Gina and Spencer would review whatever I did. So it was a very like chain of, I don't want to say chain of commands because it was very like lax and kind, but it was that type of like structured environment. I'm not the one doing, I guess, audio direction or creation or going like, hey, we should do this type of sounds. I already have that description. I just do it.
Yeah, it's
And
like
I had so much fun.
an approval loop of sorts. Like you do the work,
Yeah.
it gets reviewed, and then maybe by a couple other people. I see. Yeah.
Exactly. So it was very, and I actually worked with the dev, Jayoon, closely too a couple times for certain sound effects. So it was very like clock in, clock out almost, right? But it was, I love that project.
Cool.
I wish we could do more of that. And then Venba was really cool because it's like, wow, okay, like where are we going with this? But it was also very obvious from the beginning when I saw the game was like, okay, your game is extremely authentic. So immediately I was like, I want to bring the player back to my childhood home. Like this is so true to what it's portraying. It's not stereotypes. It's this reality that I want to create sounds that evoke my home so that other South Asians, when they hear it, it's almost like a wave of nostalgia. And for those that are not familiar with it, that's fine. You get to discover a new soundscape. So that was very different from Eternights. But it was also very obvious in some sense. There wasn't that much like, I guess there was a lot of research in terms of like, hey, I'm gonna watch more movies and this and that and learn more about certain dishes that I didn't know of. But the soundscape in general was clear.
I got the chance to play Venba a couple years ago, and I think I can safely say it's my favorite cooking-centric game that I've ever played.
Oh,
And I think
thank you.
it's definitely up there among some of my favorite narrative indie experiences I've ever played as well. And I think it does an excellent job at showcasing and celebrating Tamil traditions and South Indian cuisine. And a lot of that comes about through the visuals and storytelling, but
Mhm.
heavily through sound too. So can you talk about the process on Venba specifically? Just kind of dig deeper in like how you captured those sounds authentically.
Yeah, so I'm Gujarati, so I'm from the west coast of India, like literally near the ocean, and Venba and Abhi, they're from the south of India, like Tamil Nadu, like the province, right? So we actually don't speak the same language, culturally very different, but there's still some similarities, right? Like we all know what biryani is at this point. So there were dishes that I already knew of. The first dish you make, which is idli, it's something I grew up eating, even though it's a South Indian dish. Because turns out my mom's a foodie and she likes trying recipes. And she got in the village, she had a magazine, she read up on it and she tried, and she's been working on that recipe. This is way before YouTube, right? So like, even though I'm Gujarati, I grew up eating idlis and dosas. But then puttu and some other dishes was very new to me. So Abhi would always, so Abhi is our the game designer, founder, and main writer. He would God send me so many recipe links or videos or movies that inspired him with Venba, right? So I did spend a lot of time trying to learn about that. And then, well, I cooked. It's like I'm gonna cook, I'm gonna make the dish. Like I made biryani during COVID, biryani from scratch. So it was really hard to get certain ingredients because I live in Quebec City and nothing was open. But there were dishes that I made those deep fried bhajiyas from scratch as well. I mean, they're muruku in the game, but the closest thing I could do with what I had was pakoras, I guess, is the more common word. But yeah, I just spent a lot of time cooking. I recorded the sounds of oil and the seeds popping and the leaves and the tomatoes and the onion, like everything one by one.
Wow. I love that. The game is educational for so many people who play it, but it's really special for the people making the game to actively kind of be learning alongside the creation of the game. I think that adds something special that probably invigorates you in a
Oh,
way.
absolutely. Like
Yeah.
it was new dishes and even like tools that I didn't know existed in
Wow.
India. Like it's all made out of stainless steel, so there's this familiarity. But it was stuff I was like, huh? Like I've never heard of this dish. This is great. I can't order it in, but this is great.
It's incredible.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've always been like super interested in Foley work specifically. I just, never have really practiced it or even, but I'm so glad that you got to like participate in some of that. That's so awesome.
And I actually hate doing Foley. I basically never do Foley. But for Venba, I have felt like I had no choice. I'm sorry, I'm one of the sound designers that likes meddling with sounds. I despise having to record them. I really do not enjoy that.
Well, there's a lot of variables that you have to like combat when you're recording sounds in a
Right.
space. Yeah. So, more on the composition side of things, you composed the soundtrack for Lost Your Marbles on the Playdate, which, for those of you that are not familiar with the Playdate, it is a small hand crank, like 3-button game console with a 1-bit display. So you can imagine there's a lot of different limitations on that sort of game console. So, what particular limitations or fun challenges do projects like this create for you?
So my answer is really going to be boring because in my end, like I've had this question asked and I'm like I'm really sorry, it's so boring. There were no limitations. I really just had to export it in a certain format and our amazing engineer programmer did the rest and that's it. Like it
Wow.
was really simple.
Interesting. I would have thought you would have been kind of painted in a corner a bit, and
Like,
had to
no.
get creative within a boundary,
Yeah,
right?
maybe like creating your
Not at all.
sine waves, note by note.
Yeah. Huh.
So like I took time with Massive, which is like an audio plugin thing, right? To like create like the lo-fi, not lo-fi, but 8-bit aesthetic type of sound, right? Then the only thing I had to do was that Reaper, the DAW, doesn't export that specific file. I had to export it from Audacity, and that's it. Like I have nothing else. It
Wow. Well, I was able
was just
to,
a fun soundtrack.
yeah. Well, I was able to listen to a couple tracks on Bandcamp. Is that where it was? And they're super brief, like minute or less songs for the
Yeah.
most part. So just really fun, exuberant music that you did for that. So I imagine that's just like very different than other projects you've worked on.
Yeah, I miss that. Like I could take a bit of joy right now.
Well, let's talk about your latest work, which will be found in the upcoming All Will Rise. You kind of gave a pitch about the game, but can you tell us a little bit more about the game and what excites you about the project?
So All Will Rise is, I think, very well timed with the state of the world for the last, I'd say, 40 years, but even more so now, right? So you play as Kuili, who is a lawyer based out of India. And for context, in the game, you start off with the river being on fire. And prior to that, the river, you start off like in a court of law and you win a court case in which you won the fact that the river gained personhood. Like it's an actual living entity. And that happened in real life in India. Like there was a certain river that gained that entity. And then the next day, the river goes on fire because there's an oil spillage. Because, well, rich billionaires didn't want to pay certain things, so they, created a spill or whatever, and they're not taking responsibility. And well, the river dies. So it's a narrative courtroom deck builder about basically everyday people creating a change in society and in life. And so you're playing as the lawyer, and you have your team, and you're investigating and you're trying to figure out what happened, how it happened, and can we bring these people to justice as actual real consequences. And it's something, and it's like it's not even a game of just fantasy. It's like it's a game where it gives concrete advice and concrete plan of actions, We have amazing people helping us out on the research side and the state of climate change and just the laws and like basically not exactly ecoterrorism, but the sense of like these are real aspects of real people in India, and like we're really getting inspired by real life events. And the composer for that game is Ramsey, who did Thirsty Suitors, Boyfriend Dungeon, and I came in as the sound designer. And yeah, we're still at the beginning of the process, but it's a game where I really want to give character and personality to the people in that game. It's in 2D. So it's not as eccentric as I'd say cooking, because I feel like that's like this extreme that we could reach out to. But it is a card game, and cards have life, right? They say something. So I think that's what I'm trying to bring out as much as I can.
I know that there's an impending Kickstarter campaign. I don't know the exact dates for it or if that's been announced, but can you share any more about that for people who are interested in following the project?
So I don't think I'm allowed to share the timing of it yet. It is happening, 2026.
Okay.
Most likely. And I think the best way would be to follow us on Bluesky, actually, or the website. But the Bluesky is really cool because one of our co-founders is posting such cool tweets about, or posts, I don't know what it's called anymore,
Yeah,
about
skeets.
skeets.
Yeah,
don't know.
I don't like that word.
But he's posting such cool like educational material on that I'm like, this is so cool. This is really, really like good material. So I'd
Cool.
say the best way would probably be to follow us on Bluesky and sign up for the Kickstarter. You know, the thing where you could put your email and it tells you when the Kickstarter is starting.
Yes.
Mhm.
So people can search Kickstarter, All Will Rise. You'll
Oh
find
yeah,
the
we have a
campaign
page. Yeah.
and then click the follow button and you'll be notified. So that's a great way to follow along.
Is there anything else that you want to share about your current body of work?
I'm also working on this game called Spleen. It's we're still early on in production, but it's coming. It's actually the very first game I ever worked on back in 2019 when I was doing my master's and I was supposed to do that unpaid internship, right?
Mhm.
That studio reached out and they were like, we don't believe in that. Like, we're gonna pay you.
Wow.
I can say this publicly now because like I don't care about that program anymore or the school, but they basically paid me without telling the school that they're paying me.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes.
And because basically I did the music for their Kickstarter and like the trailer and like a main theme for the piece. The game is called Spleen. It's by the studio in Montreal called Pamplemousse, which means grapefruit. We had a successful Kickstarter back in 2019, but then, you know, life happened and
Mhm.
whatever. And it's about childhood nostalgia. And you play as, it's a 2D action RPG Persona style game.
Ooh.
There's the adult world, there's the child world. You play as an adult named Joan, and you hate your job, you hate your life, you're depressed. And you're very nostalgic about your past, about your childhood where everything seemed possible. You meet a magical cat, and you're able to fight your inner demons in childhood form. It's all done in watercolor, hand painted, absolutely gorgeous. I think it's one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen, but I'm totally not biased. And the music is very Final Fantasy-esque. So it is literally my dream project. So I'm doing the music and sound design for that. We have a Kickstarter page that's still up, like it still exists. Join our Discord. We're still working on it slowly, but we're getting there.
Wow, I'm glad that a project that started so early is still like continuing on despite the challenges of the world the past few years. I see it's on Steam. It has a Steam page, so you can wishlist it too.
Yes.
Very exciting. I will be wishlisting it right now.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome.
But it's yeah, they took me in when I had nothing, right? I was still
Yeah.
a student. I had no portfolio. I had nothing. And they were like, let's try. You know, what I
Yeah.
liked about them, it's like here, it wasn't like here, sign the contract for the full game. It was more like, hey, let us give you a small piece. Like, why don't you try out this work?
Yeah.
And then let's see if we, you know, I think it's fair on both ends, right?
Totally. Yeah, it's not agreeing to more than either side can handle. It's just kind of easing into
Mhm.
things, and it evolves over time. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Over the years, how have you seen the stories of games represent marginalized groups and underrepresented perspectives, and what progress might still need to be made?
It's on a factual level, of course it's getting better. There's more than there's ever been, but then when we say there's ever been, it's because like there was like next to none. So like the bar was so low that it's not hard to
Yeah.
get a bit higher than
The bar was
that.
in hell. Yeah.
But considering, how do I phrase this? I have mixed thoughts. I have a lot of conflicting thoughts. I have a lot of frustrations, which is too much for this for a short little segment. But considering what happened with Gamergate and Sweet Baby and the whole fiasco and the continuous harassment campaigns, doxing, and these dangerous people doing what they do, and politics, right? Like we can't talk about Gamergate and not talk about politics. It's hand in hand with the Republicans and whatever, right? But I think there's a lot of work to do. I think we're nowhere. I don't think it's right to just tap our shoulders and go like, "Yay, we did it." There's so much to do, and sadly, I think it always falls upon marginalized people and people of color to bring it up. I think about the genocide happening and who were the ones to speak the loudest about it on public platforms. I think about how Meghna, our writer for All Will Rise, not being allowed to give her. She was invited to give a speech announcement for at Dice. I believe it was Dice, but yeah, I think it was Dice Awards, and to give the intro section of presentation of the award, and she wasn't allowed because her talk included talks about the genocide that's happening in Palestine, and that was censored out. These things keep happening, so I don't want it to stop. I don't want to stomp on people's efforts, but the bar is very low and we still have ways to go.
I want a follow-up question for you here. Just something I've been thinking about over the past couple weeks. What role do non-marginalized groups have in like participating in raising these voices? Or at what point is it just like virtue signaling, I guess, is the question.
Ooh, God, again, that's a whole other talk, but the easiest one and the lowest bar is to obviously speak up, right? I think we're not even there yet. I think we're not even at the, and I hate, like, this part of the subject I hate is that, like, then I have, like, my white cis dude friends who really are amazing people, who really do speak up and who really do try, but they're in the minority is what it is. The really powerful ones, the very famous ones, I feel like they have a greater role in speaking up, in including. You have to realize where you're at in life, right? If you've had like one or several successful games and sold millions of copies, you're not in the same position as the white dude that's just starting his indie studio. And I don't hold them at the same regards at all. And to me, and it's just a personal thing, but when you attain success, whether you're a white dude or not, it doesn't even matter. There is a level of you should be speaking up and you should be helping because you didn't get there on your own. I don't believe in the myth of solo devs. And when it is, it's their partner, paying the bills for the time being. It's just such a big conversation. And I think if you're going to ask me, like, what can they do at the lowest of levels, you should be feeling uncomfortable. Like, it's normal. It's easy to say, I support Black Lives Matter. That's not making you uncomfortable. I think when you truly know you've hit the spot is when you feel that uncomfort and something feels weird and you're like, I don't like this, but I think it's right. But also, like, it feels uncomfortable. Like, you have to be in a position where the change hits you.
Putting yourself in a vulnerable position in like solidarity.
And that's so hard, my God. Like, but to me, it's like, hey, I've said no to projects where I feel like the money came from a place of certain things that I don't believe in, right? And
Mhm.
I'm like, I don't want that. I don't want to work with AI crap, even though right now I can make a ton of money. I'll speak up against it. There's just things where like it's made me uncomfortable. It's not easy. And it's not like people of color, I say people of color, but it's basically whoever is in majority at the moment, right? So if we're talking about game devs in India, that's a whole different story. We have colorism, we have caste, we have this, and it's not about the white dude more so, it's about something else. So it's really whoever's in the majority. I feel like if you are the majority ethnic representation, then you have a role more so than whoever is marginalized.
I think one takeaway there that's important is kind of looking inward, seeing what your place is in the world. It's maybe more challenging to speak out and to express your discomfort with things if you don't understand your place in relation to other people. Well, thank you for taking a detour on that. It's a question that we've asked other game developers before, so we wanted to get your perspective on that. So thank you for sharing.
But moving on from that, we do want to know what's one tool or source of inspiration you rely on that some people might be surprised by.
Oh man, what do I rely on that's surprising? Okay, you know when you're on YouTube and like no other music distribution service ever does this, but like YouTube Music or just YouTube itself, sometimes you're on this auto playlist and it just gives you the craziest music or random tidbit of thing. Like there's this song about this penguin. It's a Japanese song, right? About a penguin not wanting to wake up, and it's super popular, just not in North America or whatever. But it's about complaining about the winter and not wanting to get out of his futon. And the whole song is about, and it starts really cute and has this metal change to it, like just drastic metal. And I love that song. Like I listen to it on loop. I am obsessed with that little penguin, and it's a whole story and whatever. There's this other one where I don't even actually know I think it's Tadaka Bear, but if you write Tadaka Bear, you're not gonna find it. I really like absurdity. I like the extremes up, and I always discover it on YouTube somehow. Maybe at this point my feed is made to give me the wacky stuff. But I also really like Sesame Street and SpongeBob. Like that
Whoa.
stuff is
Cool.
amazing. Like there's the Sesame Street NPR recording on YouTube. Like they did a Tiny Desk thing. I think it was Tiny Desk, yeah. And it's such a good medley. Everything's amazing. And I think that's where it really inspired a lot of it. Sometimes I just need to relax. And stuff
Yeah.
like that makes me like, yeah.
It's a little light. It's a little distracting. That truly did answer the question that some people might be surprised by. That did surprise me. Well done.
SpongeBob,
Yes.
Sesame Street, and penguins on YouTube.
Yes.
Haven't
Peng-
heard that one before.
Also, just general penguins on YouTube. Oh my God. Like the BBC documentaries on them. Holy crap. It is emotional. Don't watch them like if you're sad. Like it's a thing.
Yeah, you better not have any plans for the rest of the day if you watch some of those
No,
things.
like-
Yeah, because you're going to be pretty bummed by just how nature works. Okay, so we're getting close to wrapping up this section, but we want to ask you about the future a little bit. Other than All Will Rise and working on Spleen, what are you looking forward to doing next in your personal or professional life?
Ooh, so this is a good one, I think, and I'm saying this out loud publicly, so that it actually happens because it's getting there. But I'm starting some sort of a blog talking about money,
Oh,
and freelancing and stuff like that. So I'm pacing it out because I don't want to like have one blog and then wait 3 months and write the next post. But the first one is definitely the very basics of finance. So I'm now a part-time freelancer because I got hired for Spleen as an employee, as a part-time employee. So I don't need to full-time freelance, but I did for many years, right? And it's very difficult. And yes, capitalism, and yes, money, and yes, the world is not in your favor, but I do feel like school doesn't financially prepare us to be fiscally responsible. And I feel like as poor as I was taught that somehow. And I'm very grateful. And I feel like a lot of people would do better if they had more awareness of some, basic financial education. So that's what the first blog is going to be about. And then I'll just be diving more and more into finances, getting a job, the juicier questions. So I'm working on that for the next year. And then I aim to get more massages on a regular basis.
Wow.
Like, it's really good for your neck. And I have insurance now. It's amazing.
That's a good reminder. I've been needing to go to like the chiropractor and stuff. It's underrated. Yeah.
Do
I
it.
don't like people touching my skin, so I will
So
abstain.
I'm like that. I was like that, and I didn't get a massage like my entire life until last year when I was in so much pain, and I've never looked back. Like, I hate people touching me. Like okay, wait, I like giving hugs, but it's like I don't want someone touching my back like that. I hate
Ugh,
it
yeah, that's
until
the
I got
worst.
it done, and now I am a convert.
Wow. Disco, I'll give you a massage. I'm pretty good.
I don't want you to see me without my shirt on.
Well,
Oh, do it with your shirt on. It's
yeah, you
fine.
can do it with the shirt on.
Like,
Yeah. Or I'll put on an eye mask and I'll just feel.
Okay.
Right? Does that sound good?
Yeah. No oil, please, though. I hate that.
We don't want to get oil on your shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, Neha, this might not be an easy thing to do concisely, but can you tell listeners about where they can find the games you've worked on? Is there an easy way to
they're
do that?
all on Steam, I think.
Okay.
They're all on Steam.
So all the ones we've mentioned you can find on Steam. Do you have links to them on your website?
Is the Playdate
Yes,
one on
I
Steam?
do.
Okay. Perfect.
So everything except for the Playdate, because you need to literally buy a Playdate. Sorry.
But some people out there have a Playdate and they might not have
Yeah.
played the game yet. So yeah, check out Lost Your Marbles on the Playdate. Well, thank you so much for sharing about yourself and your work. It's been such a pleasure to hear from you. This has been a great conversation, but we're not done with you yet. It's time for us to move on to discussing the indie title you chose from our list, Wanderstop. It is our featured game.
I'm out here in the middle of the woods, running a tea shop. So, what does running a tea shop involve? Well, there's a lot of gardening, and I've had to get used to the pretty unique tea machine they've got here. None of these tasks are all that hard, they just take patience. And I'm not really the patient type, but I'm surviving. Of course, I have to actually serve the tea to our customers. And once that's done, I'll usually check in with Boro, the guy who owns the shop, to see if my help is needed anywhere. And when all the chores are done, sometimes I'll just sit on a bench and do absolutely nothing. It's not fighting, but it's peaceful. And what's weird is that I actually feel good. I'm happy. I can stop running now. I can stop. I can stop. I can stop running. This is good for me. I need to enjoy this. I feel good. I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm happy.
So Wanderstop is a 2025 simulation narrative-focused game. It was developed by Ivy Road and published by Annapurna Interactive. The game synopsis from the Steam storefront reads, quote, "From the creator of The Stanley Parable and The Beginner's Guide comes Wanderstop, a narrative-centric cozy game about change and tea." So I'll go into the story and setting and characters of Wanderstop briefly. So this is a game that focuses on a character named Alta, who we play as. Alta is a sword fighter who has devoted her life to training hard and being undefeated, but one day she loses a series of fights and she begins to see herself as a failure. She believes someone named Master Winters can train her back up, so she sets off for the forest to find them. But running through the forest, Alta has lost her energy and has trouble even carrying her sword, so she stops to rest, and she encounters a very kind man named Boro who takes her in, and he runs a tea shop called Wanderstop in a clearing in the forest. Boro welcomes Alta in to tend to the shop and learn the ways of making tea for various customers who stop by. Some of the earliest characters we encounter are Gerald the Knight, who is afflicted with a curse, and he wants to impress his son. There's a demon hunter who has run out of demons to hunt and is offering their help through social work. There's Nana, a hyper-competitive traveling merchant. So these are just some of the examples of characters you run into in this game. And you assist them by fulfilling their tea requests and talking to them about, their situations and what's going on in their lives. So the goal of the game is to fulfill people's tea requests and find some truth that comes along with burnout and rest. I think that's a central theme here is Alta recovering, growing, changing a little bit, and trying to find what her new place is. So that's what I would say to set up the game.
Yeah. So as far as gameplay, as Bopo mentioned, you will be crafting tea, and you do this through the most unnecessarily complicated tea crafter that there is. But that's not actually a complaint of mine. I actually found a lot of joy in that. Early spoiler.
Whoa.
But you'll craft tea. To do so, you'll first need to grow berries and grow fruit by mixing and matching different berries in the ground to get the desired fruit. And each fruit will have different taste qualities and will have different side effects depending on who drinks it. And then you also can explore the clearing outside of Wanderstop. And outside of Wanderstop, you will collect tea leaves, which are a necessary ingredient for tea. Spoiler, if you didn't know about tea.
Spoilers for tea making in this episode, folks. Sorry we didn't give a proper warning about that.
Yeah, I just threw it out there. But you do need to collect tea leaves first in order to make tea, and you will dry those tea leaves. You can also trim weeds. You can find mushrooms. You can clear up leaf piles and find different items underneath those, or just clean up for the sake of cleaning up. And you can plant the berries just for the sake of planting the berries too. And you can move them around. There's a lot you can do there. You can take photos and put photos up in the tea shop and just generally decorate with crap that you find in the clearing or get from the patrons of the tea shop. You don't do any sword fighting except for when you're holding the broom. To clean up the leaf piles.
You can kind of do a combo move
in
a way if you mash that button.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's a little fun.
Yeah. I didn't realize that must come from the sword fighting background.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, man. So Alta's getting a little bit of practice while her sword's a little bit too heavy.
Yeah.
But most of what you're doing is making tea and talking with the patrons. And patrons will change their requests based on sequentially how many times you've interacted with them.
Right. There's a sort of like a quest line with each person, and you can hop back and forth between the different patrons. Wanderstop took over 7 years to create. It was directed by Davey Reedon, who created the Stanley Parable and the Beginner's Guide. We've previously featured the Stanley Parable on our show. Mm-hmm. It's a very different game than both the Stanley Parable and the Beginner's Guide. Wanderstop was just nominated for the Games for Impact Award at the Game Awards 2025. It didn't win. It lost to South of Midnight, but I think it was well-deserved because this is a game that's about these themes that we all, I think, experience, but hardly ever do games talk about it in this way. Neha, we wanted to ask you, why did you pick Wanderstop from our list? We gave you a big, long list of options of featured games. This is one of the ones that stuck out to you, and you made a short list. From that list, we picked Wanderstop. What was it about Wanderstop for you?
The thematic and the music and the audio. Like, it was just, I think, where I'm at in life, Wanderstop speaks a lot. And it's something that affects a lot of my colleagues, friends. So it's just something about it felt like home, like this feels good.
Well, now we've all had our time with Wanderstop. We've finished. What are your overall thoughts on the game?
What a beauty. Like, what a true to its core, there's just like this authenticity to it. It's not treating mental illness or burnout or depression in a superficial way. It's just something about it. Like, it feels like every object speaks in that game. Well, just the way you use the broom, the fact that she started doing that sword movement for me was so telling. Like you could see like what that brings out in her, right?
Mm.
And then when I remember getting frustrated when I asked Boro and I was like, well, what do I do now? Like, what's next? Like, this is a game. In a game, you accomplish tasks, okay? Like, I can't do the chill vibe. I have stuff to do. And the fact that yeah, that's the point. You could just rest and wait and talk. And I'm like, but we're in a tea shop. Like, there's orders to be filled, dishes to be washed, or something.
And Boro
It
says,
just felt very authentic.
Boro says sometimes there isn't much to do. Sometimes we do have to just wait for the next thing to come to us, which is an unexpected thing in a game that can be partially described as a farming sim, I would say. And in so many farming sims, I'm used to there being a never-ending list of options of things to do, people to talk to, objects to interact with, places to go. You don't always have the entire list ready for you.
Yeah, but and they just showed that in such a beautiful manner, right? Just visually and everything. It was hilarious. It was such a fun game. I enjoyed reading the little books. I enjoyed talking to people. Like they all had such character, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you could see that it was written with love and intelligence, you know. Like they took me a player very seriously.
That's a great way to put it.
I like that.
You get to interact with people through the mail sometimes. You know, people send you letters and you get little tidbits of story there too. Anything else you would shout out about the game, or
the little penguins or whatever the thing? I'm not exactly sure what they. Oh my god, I love it. The little unibrow. Oh wow, what a touch. Who decided on the unibrow? Like I just like chef's kiss. Thank you for that unibrow.
Love it.
Like it was gorgeous. And of course the flowers are pretty. Oh yeah, we get that. But the penguins and their unibrow. Oh,
I want a plushie of the Pluffin. I don't know if they made them. Yeah. We have to look into that. Maybe Makeship already did a campaign and we missed it or something. I could see that.
I got one in the game.
Yep. I got a little like statuette or of Boro at one point. Yeah.
I want a physical one. Like
I know.
I feel like my cat would play with it. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the game's very cute. It's wholesome while still balancing all these like serious topics too. Is there anything you would point out as a frustration, or would you be ready to give a score?
So I think, oh God, I tried it on PC and like on my Steam Deck, and I just have trouble with the controls in some way. Like I just have trouble, like I know what I want and it's like, oh no, it's the other button. Like I something about the UX perhaps, like it just felt a little bit like, I remember I even stopped playing it because I was just getting annoyed with like the amount of options I had and having to scroll through and find the correct one and like, oh no, it's the left trigger, but not this, but not that. Or the buttons I normally use for opening up a menu, it wasn't that. And I'm sure in the options there's something to like fix that. I probably am never the person that fixes it. So I remember like feeling a little frustration there. But that's about it. But hey, it made me go slower with the game. Maybe that was the point. Like I was slower at it.
Yeah. For me, I was also getting stuck with some things. I think opening the pockets, I would get all the pockets mixed up, right? There are four different pockets. I
dropped stuff on the floor and I didn't mean to drop it. Yes. I was just getting really annoyed.
And you always have to put whatever you're holding away before you pull out the next thing. So you've got your tools pocket, you've got your tea ingredients pocket, you've got a miscellaneous pocket, you've got a seeds pocket. And you can quickly access them with the D-pad, which is great. I think this is a me problem that I just didn't take the time to internalize what the difference between the four of those. So I would always just hit the wrong one. I'm like, are my T-balls in this one? Oh no, they're in this one. You know, so I would always like do that switching back and forth. So that's understandable. I see where you're coming from on that. Are you prepared to give a score to the game out of 10?
Yeah, 9.5.
9.5. Awesome.
I really like it. It's unique. Yeah.
Amazing. Cool. DiscoCola, do you want to share about your overall thoughts?
Sure. I'm going to be honest, and I think maybe I already told you about this or you knew about this, Bopo, but I kind of wasn't looking forward to this one. In large part, it's because of the numerous different times I had heard how significantly it speaks to burnout, right away. And this was after having already seen the beginning of the game a few times, and that just the beginning of the game didn't speak to my experience of burnout pretty much at all. And so I was kind of in this like combative headspace at a baseline just going into it. But all the same, having now finished it, I know I didn't get out of it what many of my peers did, but I still had a positive overall experience. So for things that I enjoyed, I know that this will probably be on your list, or maybe you don't feel the same way, Bopo, but this game has a great journal. I think it's easy to understand. It tells me the most important information, and it reminds me of which different teas I've tried. It explains pretty much everything that I might forget if I set it down for a while, but not in a way that feels like a video game tutorial. It feels like someone actually wrote a journal for you, and it's a standard of procedure for your job.
I remember thinking a few times reading that journal and thinking like, this does not feel like an instruction manual. This feels like a friend wrote thoughtful advice for me. It just felt very human in the way it was written.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so many games are just like press triangle to do this, and which I don't mind, but when it, goes that extra step to be authentic and grounded in reality, it's like, oh, that's an extra special journal right there.
Yeah. And while we're on the journal, just so we can get all this out of the way, because otherwise I would spend a moment later talking about it. It doesn't use the shorthand that you might see in some journals, but it still remains concise. I don't know if that makes sense. But
I know what you mean.
It's not abbreviating things like I would see in a lot of journals. It's like writing out these complete sentences, but it's also just being super legible, efficient, clear with what it's saying. It's so good. Yeah, I love it.
It is a very good journal. I do like the large variety of characters in this game and how each of them have their own quirks, and you don't get those quirks blasted to you right away. Almost no one is totally one-dimensional. You get their quirks over multiple interactions, and you're building a bond with all these people, and I really appreciate that. Speaking of characters, I very specifically like Zenith and Monster, and at the end, I did eventually like Nana as well. That's all I want to say on them for now, so more on them later. But something very specific here. But the function in the game that allows you to like see through walls and view characters on PlayStation, this is done with like L2 or whatever. That's a lifesaver. And I'm never wasting time looking for people or my next task, which surprising in a game where it's like, hey, slow down a little bit. I don't have to slow down that much. I'm not frustrated looking for something.
I have a question for both of you. Did either of you ever accidentally leave a tool sitting somewhere?
Yes.
I don't think so.
Like a watering can? Oh, you picked it up?
No, yeah.
I would sometimes leave my watering can or some other tool, because I would pick something up from an NPC and I didn't know that it dropped my held tool on the ground. That button reveals where your tools are as well.
Yeah, for me it was the clippers. Yeah. And if I was like clipping weeds right next to like a surface that you could place an item on, it's the same button to place an item on a surface.
Yes.
And so I left my clippers behind a few times. It was just like, where did it go? I can't find it now. And then I would press that L2 button and it was like, oh, it's here because you set it down on a surface.
It's so nice.
Yeah, I love it. And I really liked making the tea. I can't explain why. It was a lot more interactive than a lot of other similar types of games might have been. And so I was getting just a small taste of like action gameplay in a sense, instead of just like throwing the ingredients in and going toot, 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 and here's your tea.
Yeah. You get into a rhythm. You're tapping that button to heat up the water.
Yeah, you get to practice the perfect pour. And when you finally do that for the first time, you're like, oh yeah, that was all my years of work and skill put into a perfect cup of tea.
Yes.
And then lastly, the game has a lot of different dialogue interactions based on a lot of different variables, which is a great thing overall. But when I made Boro my final cup of tea for him, I threw literally everything I owned into the tea, Goose Game Lake style.
Whoa.
And he commented on my, quote, maximalist approach to tea. And it made me so happy that the devs made the effort to program that comment in.
Oh, that's such a good point. There are many moments where situational dialogue will point out the most specific things that you did. You feel like your experience is unique.
Yeah.
From there, I want to move on to stuff I didn't like. I don't think all characters are created equal. And to a point, that's expected because each season has like the character that carries the weight, essentially,
Oh, yeah.
narratively speaking. But even with those like more minor characters, like I'm thinking of the person that makes our chimes for us when we're done with them. And they're just kind of like barely a blip on the map for me. They really more stand out in their character design for me than anything.
Sure.
But then there's also that like little bat character that comes from the special village that she thinks everyone's heard of.
Yes.
And like narratively on paper, they carry the same amount of weight, but I kind of remember her more, and I can't really explain why. And I don't know. It just seems like not all of the characters are equal in weight, in time investment. Does that make sense?
It does kind of remind me of Spiritfarer in a way,
Yeah.
but I think Spiritfarer on average made me care about each story of whoever was on your boat with you.
Right.
And it similarly had times where like, characters would overlap, then someone would leave and someone new would show up.
Yeah.
That's kind of going on here, but some of them do kind of blur in my mind.
Yeah. No, that's a great callback. I appreciate that. Next, there's a character that carries the weight in the final chapter. And while the game, for the most part, has set us up to not see characters again from season to season, in that same final season, there's a character that returns. This is the first returning character, as I recall. And so that kind of put hope in me that this final important character is someone we might see again, and we don't. But my favorite moments in the entirety of the whole game were with Monster in these final moments, and it felt like our purpose was being tied to this character in a big, meaningful way. And, it just... The season ends and we don't see them again, and that upset me. It made me sad, and it kind of made me resentful to the end of Wanderstop, if that makes sense. I thought that this game was tying our purpose to this other character, and it just kind of ripped that away from me.
Yeah, I relate to that. It felt like there was maybe something more we were building up to or something, and like something was taken away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, to conclude, I did ultimately find myself liking the game way more than I expected. And while the gameplay throughout kept me more engaged than the gameplay in Season A Letter to the Future, the characters in Wanderstop didn't quite keep me as compelled when compared to Season, at least not until the end of the game. And these ending moments are some of my favorite in cozy games. In the end, I still don't take away what most people seem to, but I still find a great artistic interpretation of different aspects of work, self-worth. As with Season, though, I still prefer something more fast-paced. So, as with Season, I will give this an 8.0.
I expected you to not find this as resonant as you just expressed, just based on early conversations we had. I know you weren't excited to play this, so I'm glad it was overall a positive one.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Monster. I
Yeah.
love you.
That's great. Well, I'll just share some brief thoughts. I didn't absolutely love this game, but it was like a balm for the soul is how I look at Wanderstop. For a vast majority of it, I enjoyed playing the game more the more I played. So at first, I was kind of fumbling with the controls an extra amount. I kind of forgot like how the T-balls worked. I had to ask Boro for reminders, and those reminders are in the game, to the game's credit. But I think the game does a great job at easing you in. And this game practices what it preaches. There are no time limits. There are no fail states, no repercussions for making mistakes other than having to try again and spend a little bit more time making the right thing. And so it just felt like a welcoming game, like a safe space to just kind of do what I wanted. I think the themes are highly relatable. I really related to some of the themes about judging oneself and the guilt you can feel from needing to rest and recharge. Recognizing that you might need to do that, but while you're actively in that phase, feeling restless, feeling like, I can't gauge how much I'm supposed to rest. So I mean, am I doing this right? And then am I really resting if I'm having all these thoughts and guilt? Those kinds of conversations come up time and time again. And
I will say that I do relate to that part of it.
Mhm.
Is resting is a struggle.
Yes, I think it's a struggle for a lot of people. I really liked the sound design and score. I think it evokes the soundtrack of visiting like a peaceful stable in an open world, adventure game. But it also has emotional breadth to communicate internal conflict too in our character. I also point out the journal. I think it's really awesome. One of my favorites. For dislikes, I think I would just point out that the game is a little bit too long for my taste. I think it's maybe 10 to 20% too long. I just kind of felt it losing a little bit of steam. And the tea recipes started to get in the way of what I was wanting to get out of the game. The longer we went on, the more resonant I found the themes, but the more complex the tea recipes were getting. And I had already kind of gotten the point of, the tea gameplay. And so I didn't want to make the super complex multi-step tea orders as much as I wanted to hear from characters like Nana and Monster and all the other visitors, right? So I don't know that there was enough about the tea making that remained compelling by like hour 10 for me. I thought that sometimes selecting and placing items felt a little clumsy, but overall, Wanderstop is a total force for good in video games. I had an appreciation for the characters that grew alongside the tedium of making tea. Sometimes it
Nailed
just
it.
happens
Nailed
in the
it.
moment.
Got it.
But both of those things grew with time. My appreciation of the story and characters and the tedium of making the tea. But it's a gorgeous game. I didn't even touch on like the flora and how imaginative this place is, how colorful it is, how beautiful it is. It's a world I will think back to. In a way, this tea shop feels like a home I can go to in my mind. I love this place. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10, like Disco. Had a great time. So Neha, for the sound design and music of Wanderstop, what is standing out to you in this game?
So I'm gonna start with the sound design. I think it's very storytelling. Like you hear so much from the details, like how the dialogue sounds are so like Nana's having that coin sound in her text when the text appears, it's all like clink, 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 clink. And I'm like, oh, this is great. Like this is so obvious. And was it the mechanic person that had like a metallic sound? And it was just there was so much storytelling in the minute details. It also sounded like he had just fun. Like when your water container is empty and you still press the watering can, there's that empty like metallic sound, but there's also like a living like it almost looks like a sad frog going oh, or so. I can't exactly like articulate it, but the watering can felt alive, and it's just like oh he's sad because like I didn't fill him up with water. There was another one I'm forgetting right now, but there were details to the sound design that made it feel like the objects were alive, that made it feel like the environment. And I'm not even like just the fact that the graininess was so well done. I think it's for me, I have a lot of difficulty with like foliage. Like it's just hard. It's tricky to make it sound not annoying. And somehow they made it sound very appeasing and the frequencies weren't like hurting your ear. It was just very well done. And there was humor in the sound effects. And then with the music, God, the amount of like interactiveness, how when you talk to someone and it ends and I can hear like the change in the piano going to the ending phrase of it and the surprise boom or whatever chords. And it just felt like it was like living and breathing with the pace of the game. And yeah, I guess it felt like a true, like something about the audio felt like, yes, it is made for this game. It's not just audio for the sake of audio or for the sake of like doing the sound so it doesn't feel empty. It's there to evoke something. And I feel like I feel it.
Wow. You're really opening my mind to a lot of things that I didn't pick up on. But yeah, you're totally right.
Yeah, I love the examples you shared of dialogue sounds and music cues. Something that some players might not notice, and I didn't notice for a long time. And then when I'm talking to Nana for like the 10th time, I'm hearing the coins, and it's just a subtle way to add dimensionality and to reinforce the fact that she's this hyper competitive traveling merchant, right? Only she gets that. So I love those examples a lot that you shared.
So one of the things that I ended up really enjoying is just kind of like the season to season loop. So how did we approach, the tea shop after everything resets after every season? Like, what's the first thing you do? How do you approach this game?
Oh man, I was so shocked. I was like, "Where's my stuff?" I worked hard for it. I was so pissed. Like, I was not taking that well. I know. I'm like, "Oh yeah, burnout. Yeah, burnout. Like, who cares? Where's my stuff?" I worked hard. Like, you're making my burnout worse. Like, I was just so sad.
Yeah.
But no, I quickly got over it. And I was like, you know what? This is very on point with everything, actually. And maybe this is a way for me to do a little bit of introspection, but I don't know. I was happy that we started off with this, I guess, almost a clean slate, but with the memories of what I had from the past season, right?
Mm.
It's almost like I have tools to work on my new season in a different way.
Yeah, I was a little upset at first about the impermanence of so much that I did in the previous season. I had organized my shelves with the seeds and the fruit that I had grown, right? One thing the game does is it sort of limits what fruits you can grow season to season because it's only going to give you a certain selection of seeds. And so one way to avoid overwhelming the player is let's just wipe everything so that they know what kind of square one they're starting from. But I was also bummed that I didn't have my trinkets anymore. Right? My like little
Yeah.
trophies that I got in the mail. But one cool choice the game makes is it retains the photos that you hang in the picture frames.
Mhm.
So one thing
That's true.
I did starting in that next season is if I got trinkets, I put them on a shelf side by side, knowing they would go away, and I took a picture of them.
Oh, cheat code.
And I put that picture in one of the picture frames. So this is my way to carry that forward. If, I'll play by your rule, Wanderstop. This is how I get around it, right? But yeah, I had the same approach with the growing stuff, the seed stuff and the fruit stuff. I would go around and just like look at my journal, see what combinations I still need to do because they're not filled in, get all the new fruit with the new seeds, stock up on that stuff. Then I run out and I immediately make some tea balls by collecting the tea leaves because that takes a couple minutes to process. So that's how I'm getting started. How about you?
That's about the same for me too. I check my journal to see which ones I've never grown before, and I'll grow those real quick. Maybe double up on a couple of them, and then I'll also go out and get tea leaves and start drying them. Two full baskets worth.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my loop. And like as far as like trinkets go, it was a lot easier for me to let go. Like you know me, Bopo, I'm a collector. Like in my veins, like my bone marrow is full of collector disease.
Right.
But it's kind of like an all or nothing sort of a thing. It's like I want everything or I want nothing. And the trinkets that you get are arbitrary. Like I had one season where I got two of the same. So I was like, oh, it's just whatever. It's just
Oh.
kind of random.
Okay. I didn't know
So
that.
it was a lot easier for me to like let go of that stuff.
Sure.
So
Once it happens once, like that
Hmm.
stings the most, but then it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Did we come up with a system for organizing shelves, putting things on tables? Like, were you dropping
God,
stuff
no,
on the floor?
I'm a hot mess. Like, I don't care. So it was just like, I'm going to put stuff on the floor, like the easiest access thing. I would not place them. Even for like the trinkets, like that's the one thing I don't like clutter. I don't like stuff. I like
That's fair.
emptiness.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, it's fine if that's gone. I just didn't want my seeds to go away,
Right.
but
That's the basis. You need the seeds to do
Yeah.
everything else. So like as long as you
Exactly.
have that down, everything else can just kind of go wherever.
But I think I just had a spot where I would put my excess, like outside on the porch or whatever. I would just put my excess stuff all
Right.
in one spot. And that's fine by me because I could still see it. But I don't want to be organizing shelves in my game.
Yeah.
Like I'm not doing that. We have to do that in real life. Why would I do that in game?
True.
Yeah, for me, it was just like, this is the shelf what has all the trinkets, but as far as like which trinkets were where, I didn't care. I just put them
Yeah.
on that shelf. And then if I had like excess fruit, I would set the one that I learned was excess just down somewhere and leave everything else on the trees until I need it.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, even if you don't come up with a system for how am I going to put all my extra stuff in places, choosing to drop it on the floor is still a choice, like, so I think this game giving you such limited pocket sizes, it's asking the player to come up with some system,
Something,
whether it's
yeah.
chaos or organization or something in the middle. But then I think part of this too, another way you can analyze someone's psyche while they're playing the game is how do you manage the messes that are made? There's the weeds that grow. People drink the tea orders and they leave their empty cups behind. Like what are we doing there? Are we staying on top of that stuff?
I clean the cups when I'm out of cups.
Yeah.
I love it.
For me, it's like, I won't like just like follow the person to see where they set their cup, because sometimes they'll just like carry their empty ass cup around the outside of the forest. I'm like, I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
If I find it later, I'll find it. But like if I am over in the like clean dishes area and I'm like, how do I only have 2 now?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'll go look for some. But I do try to like keep an eye on the cups. And if I notice weeds, I'll go get them real quick. But I'm not like, I should go check the clearing real quick. I don't. If I see it, I'm like, oh, that's a problem, and then I'll go take care of it.
I was a clean cup fiend. I was tailing people. So people would sometimes be in the shop. They'd do the thing where they walk away with their cup, and I'm behind them, waiting for them to put their cup on one of the tea tables outside. They would often do that. There are businessmen you encounter that want a certain kind of drink, and when you start making those drinks for those guys, you can see a presentation that they want to rehearse. They'll give you a photo if you want to take their photo. And these guys will often be on the outskirts of the clearing, and they'll leave their empty cup on the outer edge. It's like, at least return this back to the tea shop. Don't just leave it on the forest floor.
The conference room is not out there, gentlemen. It's in here.
It's in here. Come in, at least leave it on the table outside. I was offended at those guys. I was really offended that they're handing.
It's rude, though.
It is rude.
It's
Thank
very
you.
rude.
Thank you. Like they hand me this picture that I honestly am not invested in, but I might try to find a place for it. But also I have to pick up their cup on the floor. Are you kidding me?
You know who?
I mean, there's people like that in real life, right?
Yeah,
Like this
that's true.
entitled business, high tech, like that bro, So it's okay, I see it. It's very well represented, actually.
It showcases
You're
a
very
wide
rude.
variety of behaviors too, which is great. Like,
you know who's
yeah.
simplifying that process for us is Nana, because she just throws the cup behind her and breaks it. So
I thought that she was throwing empty cups off to the side that I had to go clean up, but they weren't there.
Nope,
so that was
they're just
kind of a
gone.
relief. Yeah.
It's a sacrifice inscription style. That cup's gone.
Right. And if you give her like an artisan cup, like a unique cup,
Yep.
she'll throw that away.
Yeah, I gave her one the first time. I'm like, oh, I wanted to keep that one.
Jeez, Nana, you're incorrigible. I didn't clear up vines as much. I did kind of early on. I did like cleaning up the leaf piles because I love that button combination.
Yeah.
Very cool stuff.
Yeah.
And you get some rewards. You get some extra seeds and cups and trinkets and things. I guess like another part of this loop is I encountered times where I had to redo orders, right? And this happened more at the end of the game because I wasn't good at following a direction or two. And I don't know, did either of you struggle with that?
I struggled a lot at the beginning, like the first the knight and demon hunter, and I just told him too bad. Like, that's what we have. And it's okay. Because I was like, you know what, I was starting to feel the frustration, right? And I'm like, well, I don't want to be unhappy. And I had trouble getting into the game at the beginning of it, the first, like, I guess, hour or two. So I was like, yeah, too bad. Like, we don't have mint. Sorry.
Wow. I didn't realize there were always those options to just kind of like tell
Just
people
not
too
make
bad.
it. Or like the
bad.
sleepy drink that the drink he wanted to feel awake. And I gave him like 2 drinks, and neither of them were the wakey one, right?
Mhm.
He's like, it's good, but it's not what I want. I'm like, well, that's too bad. That's what I got, and that's okay. And I like that. I
Oh.
don't do that in real life, but it kind
Yeah.
of felt good to do it
Right.
here.
Like I went through all this work, so like it's got to be worth something.
Yeah, I didn't struggle too much. There was one time where I poured all of the tea into the final like zone of the big tea machine. And I'm like, oh, son of a Boro, I never put tea leaves in there. So it wasn't actually tea.
Yeah.
And so I knew I was going to
just
throw
Yeah.
fruit water.
Yeah,
is
I was
what you
going to
got.
throw it out, but I took 1 cup of it and gave it to Boro real quick because I was like, I wanted to see what he would say. And he had his little happy face and his little clap. And he was like, oh, it seems you forgot the one thing that makes tea, which is tea leaves. This is still great, though. And so
Oh,
I threw everything out after that. But I'll admit that, like, maybe the 4th season, I was not afraid to consult the Book of Answers for a lot of stuff because I was like, I still have to finish my secret game. I'm running out of time. So I was defying, I guess, the vibe of the game and just like, let's go check the Book of Answers for which specific fruit is the cereal fruit.
I was doing that too because I didn't feel bad because all it's doing is really saving me time.
Yeah.
That I would otherwise spend doing trial and error. I was doing that in season 4. In season 4, we get the most complicated tea orders, and I screwed up 2 of them. I was playing this game really late at night, so it could have been that I was just exhausted and I wasn't like attentive. I wasn't focused. But I make a cup that's like all these steps. I'm even following the Book of Answers, and I think I did it right. You know, I feel confident. I give it to Nana. She's like, this is crap. Like, this isn't right. She throws the cup away, and I'm like, okay, go back and make it again. And I start to doubt like how the game works. I'm like, maybe, I have to pour some of it into the cup, then make a whole new thing in the tea infuser, then pour that on top. Maybe it's that I'm pouring too much. And maybe when I drain the first pot, it's putting too much in the cup. Let me just take the cup that I started and put it on this table over here. Make the second part of the tea, putting stuff in the infuser, go back down, turn around to grab my cup where I started. It's dirty.
Yeah,
what?
That happened to me.
And then I'm like, why is this dirty? Who drank my tea? And I look down at the floor and there's a Pluffin. And the Pluffin drank my tea. So I had to do it a 3rd time.
Yep.
Let's go again. One more again, baby.
That happened to me. I was so mad. I put my half tea cup on a shelf because I was like, this feels like it's probably off limits somehow.
Like top
Yes.
top level. And
Yeah.
it still drank?
No.
Oh, okay.
It was safe then. But after having that the first time, I'm like, what the hell?
That's what I should have done because I look down at that Pluffin and it's like a different color, like looking up at me. And it's like, what? It's like, I know what you did. You can't hide. The evidence is right
it's
there.
very cat-like.
It
Very
is.
cat-like. If you leave your mug, I'm sorry, it's free for all. Like,
Yes. So I really did appreciate the process. There were just some times where I was forced to do some trial and error, and I did start to feel that tea, DM, So, ha ha ha.
Call back. See if we can get the
Milking it.
3rd one. Rule of threes.
So, onto a more serious topic. What were some of our personal reflections on expectations, work, burnout, and rest as we played?
ooh, that's a big one. Feels like, sadly, I still don't know how to rest, Like, and the great game addresses that too. Like, there's like, well, I don't know, how do I get there? And like, I think part of it is you kind of mentioned it a bit earlier, but our types of jobs, at least, we're in media or tech or whatever, right? I'm not working on my feet. I'm not working in a factory. I'm not doing a physical job, right? I'm not a nurse. I'm not on my feet doing actual things. I'm looking at a screen and doing stuff, sitting down. And like, I guess I never really know what rest is or if I'm doing it properly, because I have a tendency to just numb myself out by playing a certain type of roguelike. And that's my thing. And sometimes it's relaxing and sometimes it's telling that I'm not doing well because I'm doing it too much. But then how do I relax? Like I work in video games. Do I play more video games to relax? Like it's sometimes it's just hard to find that middle ground. And then like I treat rest as though it's work, right? Well, how do I maximize this? How do I do it efficiently? How do I like whereas rest is supposed to be rest, right? And I feel like it's something that we forgot how to do. I feel like we kind of all rested when we were kids and stuff and teenagers even, but like the older you get, I feel like we kind of lose touch.
Hmm. Yeah. And I think it starts to happen even when you kind of get into the late teens, like college years. And I think there's more of a vocabulary for this stuff now than when we were younger. Because I remember being in college and people like acknowledging this kind of stuff, but not really talking about it with the seriousness that I hear students talk about it now. I taught a class at our local university this semester, a class about videography and cinematography. And on the last class period, it was just like a Q&A professional development light class where I kind of opened it up to them and asked them like, hey, what questions do you have about entering the workforce, approaching graduation, your next semesters, advice from someone who's worked in the field for a decade. And they were asking questions about how to be a harmonious team member and how to put a portfolio together, really cool stuff. We had a great conversation. But then one student asked me a question that kind of stumped me, and it was, how do you deal with burnout? And that showed me that they're experiencing it.
Mm-hmm.
And they would talk about it openly. Some weeks I'd ask how their class loads are going, and they'd talk about it out in the open. And I honestly didn't have a good answer for this student. I said, I'm lucky to be in a position where I can sometimes delegate work when I know that I can't give my full self to something, but you're not always going to be in that position. And so I told them more and more I'm seeing burnout as like how to deal with burnout as a lifelong pursuit. And it's something that's kind of inevitable. It feels like something you can't prevent. It kind of feels like getting sick. Like we all know we're going to get sick at some point. We're going to get a cold or a flu. We don't know when it's going to happen. And we can do things to make our situation better and more comfortable, but we can't completely make it go away while it's happening. Like we can develop skills to deal with it. And I think that's a lifelong pursuit is like, can I get better at coping? Can I get better at healing? Can I recognize when it's happening sooner? Those are some takeaways I had from this game. To avoid it completely is kind of an insane thing to try to reach for. I think it's more, when can you recognize it and how can you take care of yourself?
And I think maybe that's part of where my disconnect with this game is that it is more of that trying to avoid it altogether. And I think that's what this game was, broaching a little bit. And like I mentioned, like burnout looks totally different for me. Like I don't just like totally shut down. I don't, it's hard to explain, but for me, it's just like when I really feel it, it's like I'm looking ahead at my next 3 days and I'm like, oh, I can only sleep like 8 hours over the next 3 days because I have all this stuff going on. And it's not like I can choose to not do that stuff. Like everything that's built around me in my life, every aspect of it has people counting on me. Like I have to do my part so that other people can succeed, so that other people eat with my children. And like the one aspect of my life that's counting on me the least is actually Underplayed. And it's, you know how much we count on each other for Underplayed. So like if that's the one that's like the easiest to lose, that's kind of what like, that's why I can't quit, because like everybody's counting on me.
Yeah.
And I think what I take away from this game is less about burnout and more about the pervasive nature of hustle culture. And a lot of people that think of hustle culture and think of burnout maybe think they're exactly the same thing. But I can tell you that you can feel burnout without participating in hustle culture. And I think the biggest difference there is that hustle culture believes that if you try hard enough, if you work hard enough, if you do all the things, you'll never fail. And that's not true. And I've always known that that wasn't true. Like, I've always seen people in my life working hard, doing all the right things, all the right times, and then they still fail because, I mean, the deck, it really is stacked against pretty much all of us. And so, like, I think that's the big difference here is that I see this as more of a game about hustle culture and how it degrades you and shatters the expectation of failure. Whereas if you're someone that understands you will fail sometimes, you can still keep trying, and sometimes you have to keep trying, but sometimes you're still going to do poorly or still fail. And I've always known that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, an important way the game makes that point at the start is Alta is not just a member of that kind of like hustle culture, like just being the best she can be every day, but this belief that she can't fail, you know? And then she starts to lose. And then she starts to see herself as a failure because she hasn't recognized this as like a possibility, I guess, is my take on it.
And she says multiple times, it's like, I've always known that if you just keep trying, if you fail, you just have to work harder. You just have to keep going. And that's just not true. Sometimes you're just going to fail. So I want to know what customers we related to and expectations that were met or defied through their stories.
In some weird way, I guess I just have a soft spot for the knight. Like, I find him cringe and embarrassing and whatnot. But this need to impress this little boy, right, his child, this need to, like, it's really kind of dark, actually, in the sense of like it's never enough. He's not taking care of himself. Like, it's a lot of things. Like, you have a curse on your foot, man. But I feel like it's very telling to a lot of people where it's like they're so scared of being seen as slower or seen as not strong enough, or not cool enough, not competent enough. Whereas that fear of is actually what's bringing them down and what's preventing them from being a more present person, a kinder person, a more relatable person that we want to be friends with. So I'd rather be that than this imaginary, right?
Stories like Gerald, I think, kind of show that there are many sides to this. And I almost think you could make a version of this game, Wanderstop, with a lot of these characters as the main character, you know, not just Alta. Like, Alta's just one in a whole series of people who need this place. You know, I don't know if all of them would be as compelling as Alta, right? But Gerald, I think, is up there. I think with the trying to impress the sun element, that really adds an emotional layer. For me, so Ren, the bigger warrior with the like mask.
Oh yeah, the mask.
Ren is someone who worships Alta and like sings our praises, and that's really great. They have faith in us. But ultimately, the more Ren finds out about Alta, the more they lose faith in us, the less they worship us. And that was really disappointing. And I actually kind of felt my heart breaking a little bit, knowing that like this really kind person, someone who looks up to us, was kind of abandoning us. But then there's a really beautiful message that happens as a result of this. I think it comes from Boro, where Boro just asks us to consider, are you the person you want to be? And every opportunity we're given where someone that we want the respect from doesn't like us, that's an opportunity for us to then just ask ourselves, do we like ourselves? Are we happy with who we are? I think that's a really positive outlook on it. So this is an example of like not a character that I absolutely love start to finish, but what this character allowed us to ask and remember, I thought was really powerful.
So you might expect me to say Gerald because of the father element.
Actually I didn't. I won't spoil what I thought.
Well, I'm pretty sure I know what you thought. But and while I do really, 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 really need my kids to like me, I am also way too tired to wake up at 4 a.m. and buy 30 pounds of flour or whatever just because it's a joke tradition. I'm never going to try that hard.
Yeah.
But the one that I felt related to the most was Monster. Just with those, I don't want to say it's self-loathing, but it's just like not valuing yourself and just seeing only the worst in yourself, and just how much that impacts you, and how you can kind of like sometimes use that as a crutch for behaviors that are harmful to yourself or to people around you.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's for me, it's Monster by a mile.
Yeah. Very powerful to have that character in the last season.
Yeah, it really turned the game around for me to have that right at the end.
Wow. Okay. Well, kind of a fun, lighter final question. Do we each have a usual tea order? And this was your idea for the question. Did you mean in real life?
In real life, what's your
life.
tea order?
What's your tea order? And which of the
So
tea?
I don't really order tea at a coffee shop or a tea shop just because I love my coffee. And in Quebec City, I'm sorry, but your overall, like the tea I like is a good solid chai, like the proper Indian way, not like just with water. It has to be milk and you boil it and it goes up and it almost burns over, and has to be like almost creamy with sugar and all of it, right? I can't really order that here, but I think that would be my go-to, is a solid chai.
Nice.
That's my go-to as well. I don't know if it's ever made quite that way. I do like whatever it is I get from the coffee shop. I tried to make my own chai at home today, and it is not hitting the mark. But it's something. It is kind of why I stopped bothering with tea and just kind of was just like, whatever, coffee is my caffeine. I don't like it very much, but I need to stay awake.
I think people compare tea and coffee, and they kind of join sides, right? And I think I'm more of the coffee person, and I've tried chai and have enjoyed it. But I tend to just worship tea more for helping, like the relaxing kinds of tea that calm me down before bed. I don't use them that often, but when I'm sick, I turn to tea, right? So it's a situational thing for me. I think that's...
Well, I'm using it to drink a lot more water, actually. Like it's so much, especially in the winter, where I feel like I almost don't reach out for water because it's at room temp and it's too cold. And it's not, it just feels cold. But I realize that if I just have warm water, I feel a lot better.
Yes, it's great for situations where you need to soothe the throat. I've taken tea to like calm my stomach before. So mine's very just like based on a need to feel better, I guess. Like something's wrong with me. Like I need to relax or do whatever I can.
Yeah. For the better part of 2 years, my wife has been having like some non-caffeinated tea at night just to like have something before she goes to bed. And it always smells good. And I'm kind of jealous, but it's like, I don't want a whole cup of tea. I just kind of want a few sips. I don't want to, I don't want to get up and go make it. But sometimes I'm jealous, and occasionally I'll have like whatever blueberry lemon tea she's having or something like that.
Ooh.
I don't think this game is a good gateway game into getting into tea, unfortunately, because
the fruits are blue ring fruit. Yeah.
Yes. And snock cones and stuff. But, there's another game I've played before, Teacup, a nice cozy game about learning about tea ingredients and preparing a tea party for a community. That game has a tea journal. And for anybody interested in tea after playing Wanderstop, like if you kind of want to step up your tea game, you can learn the beneficial effects of common tea ingredients through that game. So, and it's a nice, like just short sit, wholesome game.
Looks attractive.
Yes, it's painterly. It looks beautiful. Love that game. Very good time. And then did we have any ingredients from Wanderstop that were attractive to us? Anything that caught our eye?
Yeah, because like each of the fruits have like some sort of fun, quirky side effect.
Oh man, I can't remember.
For me, I thought the one that makes you think that you are good at math was a real funny one.
Not good, not better at math, just more confident in your current state of ability of math. Yes.
You feel like you are better at math, and I thought that was fun.
I had a
I
question.
needed that in high school.
Yeah. Sometimes more confidence is all you need. I had a question about the logistics of one. There's one that makes time advance 1 minute or something. Is that because it takes a minute to drink, or like you drink it and then it advances time? And is it for you or for the world? Like,
could someone just like chug a gallon of this and skip
an
an
hour?
hour?
right?
Yeah. I have many follow-up questions about that one, but also there's another one that like compels you to use the word triangle in conversation. What? What? So I was just doing a double take every time I was opening up the journal.
Yeah, those are fun.
Well, Neha, we're going to wrap up, but before we do, can you give listeners a reminder of where to find games you've worked on?
So yeah, they're all on Steam, but if you need a referral, my website, nehapatelaudio.com. Otherwise, I talk a lot about them on Bluesky, and yeah.
Awesome. Well, we want to thank you for your time again today and for picking Wanderstop to play and review with us. We really appreciate it. And we wish you all the best with All Will Rise and Spleen and all the other projects you can't talk about. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. This was great.
Absolutely. Well, that's our review of Wanderstop. You can play it on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series. Neha rated it at 9.5, DiscoCola rated it an 8, and I rated it an 8. That's the end of this episode of Underplayed. You can find more of our episodes at kzum.org/underplayed and on podcast platforms. Our music was composed by Jack Rodenberg. Our art comes from Onimochi. Check out our show notes where you can find and follow us across social media. Underplayed is on Bluesky, Instagram, and Threads. You can find my links down below, and I stream a variety of indie games on Twitch.
And I am at DiscoCola on all of those platforms as well, including Twitch, where I am going all city publicly, friends.
Next time, we'll have 2 more secret games to review, and our featured game will be The Banner Saga, a tactical RPG developed by Stoic. Until then, everyone, keep on playing.